monster? We all go a little mad sometimes.
You won, and I died!
I'm feeling woozy, yeah! They're coming to get you, Barbara.
How's it hanging, Phil?
From the front time,
Come and get it! So either put the gun down now, or kiss your ass goodbye.
Let's get this party started.
I agree, Dana. Let's get this party started. So, welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge, and I don't have a voice, so bear with me.
Yes, the cold is running through our house pretty rampant right now, but
don't you love having kids?
before we get started, oh my gosh, going back to school every single year it happens.
School's almost over. Like, we should be done with the germs, but we're not.
So you guys all know our amazing friend Cody Leach. She's been here a couple times. Cody, nice to see you tonight.
Yeah, what's up? Thanks for inviting.
No, always a pleasure to have you. And we also have the amazing Cris from 3C Films. If you guys haven't checked that out, we also have his links down in the description. So this is your first time going live with us, Cris. Can you tell people a little bit about your channel that might not have heard of you?
Yeah, so I go by 3C Films. I mainly like to talk about upcoming movie news and whatnot. I have a very specific passion for horror. I definitely commend you guys for talking about it all year around, because I feel like that might be difficult. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for both your guys' channel. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
And to learn a little bit more about him, his My First Horror Movie episode does come out on Friday. So make sure you're coming back and checking that out. Very excited to have him. The next 2 days are going to be awesome, because tonight we're here with you guys. Tomorrow our interview with Matt Riddle is out on his first horror movie, and then Friday is Chris's episode. So we're very excited for you guys to check those out. Castellar says The Gallows Act 2. I don't think I've seen that.
Gallows, I know that one. Is that with
I've
the
seen the
high
first
school
I've seen
play?
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen the second one.
The Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Batman. Okay. Yes, this is horror third acts, but guys, if you have third acts that you think are lame from non-horror movies, please let us know. I would love to hear those too.
There's way more that are non-horror.
Yeah,
Everyone that's stuck in my brain, I'm like, that's action, that's drama, and I kept trying to think of something else.
Yeah. Tatum, good evening.
Hey, Tatum.
What's up, Nathan?
Hey, Nathan.
Charles, thank you. Curious to see everyone's list. Just sub to 3C.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I'm
Charles.
excited to check them out. You are not going to regret it, but let's get this stuck in your guys' head for the rest of the night.
Ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby.
Thank you, Charles. We
Thanks,
appreciate it so
Charles.
much. I agree, J-Dev. We're very lucky to have friends like this.
Yeah.
Hello, Ashton. Hello, Ryan. And Tatum doing the Lord's work. She's going to be putting their links in the chat as well. So make sure if you're not, you're subscribing to them. The third act is really bad. So we might talk about Halloween Ends tonight. Scream 6. J-Dev is not going to be happy with all this Scream 6 talk in the chat already. Scream 6 will definitely be on Cody's list. I would agree that it was a letdown. What's up, Sports? What's up, Jay? What's up, Necro? Lil Boozy? All right, guys. T. Parker, nice to see you. Dice is here. Hello. Nick, good evening. Cal, hello. All right, guys. So Paul, hello, Cody.
Hey,
thank you
guys.
for changing my mind on rewatching Spider-Man 3. I love that movie. Hi, Cris. I watched your video since Child's Play remake announcement video.
Nice.
That's
Thank
awesome. Thank you for watching for so long. It's really cool to hear that, even for us, to hear that you've been watching one of our friends for a long time. That's the coolest feeling in the world, man, because when they succeed, we succeed, and vice versa. We want them to do it as awesome and amazing as they can. Our Life in Horror, good evening. My top 3 favorite horror channels, the core 3. I don't even care if we're number 3 on that list. Holy shit, to be a bronze medal in that list, I will take it. 3C Films, yes, Matt Riddle, the UFC fighter wrestler. He is such a kind person. I haven't shared this really much, but we met him a couple months ago, and he did a personal video for my son, who is also a high school wrestler. And Matt Riddle is one of his idols because Matt Riddle pinned John Jones twice in high school wrestling, and my son knew that. And Matt Riddle did this amazing personal video for my son, like telling him,
stallions
stallions got to stick together. And after we did the interview, like he actually had like a full on, probably 10 to 15 minute conversation with my son about wrestling and UFC. And so Matt Riddle has my love and respect forever. He's a great guy. Hope you guys can make it out tomorrow. What's up? Or
Hey, Cris.
become a member. If you become a member by clicking the link down in the description, we have 3 tiers now. Even if you do the 99-cent basic membership, which we appreciate so fucking much, you can watch the Matt Riddle interview right now after the stream. What's up, King Mike? Thank you for stopping in. Do want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, as well as do that for the other guys as well. So, Chris Zaire said hi. So there we go. All right, guys. There's a lot of people in the chat. Thank you guys for coming out. I've been watching 3C since I was a kid.
Nice.
I'm glad we finally were able to make this happen. We've been trying to make it happen for a while, and it finally did. So, good evening, John Doe Juggalo.
Good evening.
Hey, Detroit people, we know all about the Juggalos. So we are going to start off with our honorable mentions. I believe Cris and Cody, you guys said you do not have any, right?
No.
So we'll go quick on those.
Okay.
My honorable mentions are 1, the open house. If you guys haven't seen it. Oh, also, by the way, spoiler warning. We're talking about third acts. We might spoil things for you guys, so I'm sorry. We haven't. The open house, it was a Netflix original film about a family that has this guy goes to open houses and checks them out.
Something
Great
like that.
movie. I liked the movie a lot. Did not like the ending whatsoever. And another one, I might get some shit for this because I know a lot of people love it. High Tension.
Honorable mention?
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's mad at Ken, I'm going to soften that blow here in about 45 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
I like the ending.
Yeah. See, 'cause I know a lot of people like it.
I do.
It ruins the movie for me. It really does. And I respect people that like it. It's not my thing. I do not get into the ending. I think that it totally flipped where it could have gone in a much better direction. And it really, really bummed me out. So those are my honorable mentions. What about you, my love?
All right, so this movie is my worst favorite in the franchise. The entire movie isn't that great, to be honest with you. But it's Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and it's like crazy, and then just that ending with like the baby Freddy like wanting to learn from him, and I don't know, it goes off the rails, and it's just like I said, it's like the icing on the poop cake.
You don't want to see him learn stuff from Freddy.
I want to learn stuff from you.
That's not.
And then he his victims like pull the baby. I don't know. It's freaking weird. It's not good.
I actually like Freddy's Dead more than The Dream Child. So
it's my least favorite in the franchise. But I knew that there's probably going to be another one on somebody's list, so I chose that one. And then I have 47 meters down. This entire movie gave me anxiety, like being under the water, having sharks coming at you. And then you think that she got out and you just find out that it's like she was under this, the nitrogen narcosis the entire time. And it was all a hallucination. That I didn't like that part.
Don't they call that the bends?
The bends, yeah. When you get pulled out too fast, you get all the bubbles in your brain. Yeah.
No, thanks. I agree. I agree, Gage. I think that sounds swell. The legit Trinity, these 3 channels are badass. Thank you guys. Seriously, like it's amazing to see that. Thank you guys so much. Hey, happy birthday, Gage. I hope you have an amazing, amazing birthday. Thank you for spending it with us. That's really
17.
awesome.
To be 17 again.
Thank you, Sean. Oh, Scream 4 and 6 would be on there. Very nice. I see that somebody got gifted a membership. Thank you for doing that, Tatum, but it does not show us who it was. So whoever got it, thank you. I hope you enjoy it.
I don't know why we can't.
I don't know why it doesn't show us on our side, but I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for doing that, Tatum.
Thanks,
Tatum. Let's get right into our top 10. Cris, we'll start with you. What's at number 10 for you?
So let me just ask, so did you guys like rank them worst to best? Because I honestly just have a 10 list. So
Mine are
I mean,
pretty
That's
loosely
fine.
ranked. My
Yeah,
number
if you
one's
put
a
them in
hard
some
number
type of
one.
order,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, then I'll start off with one I think the most chat, and I probably Cody has as well. Scream 6. I really enjoy what the Scream 5 and 6 were doing, an attempt, and they didn't exactly reach the heights of the previous movies, and I'm a diehard Scream fan, and 6 was like hitting every cylinder for me and what I wanted. I was tired of the formulaic setup. I was tired of them seeming like they were just hitting beats from previous movies. I felt like 6 was finally, not only did I start to like the new characters, they were doing new things like giving Ghostface a shotgun. I like the setting of New York, even Halloween, even if the Halloween element didn't get used as much. Everything up until the third act, I was like, you're doing something new, you're keeping it fresh. And then the third act is just rehashing the ending of Scream 2, which is like a giant Easter egg. And I hated it. It just was like, no, you went back. You were going so forward and risky, and then you just took 2 steps back into all that. And that's the only thing that holds 6 back from being like a really higher up in my ranking of Scream movies.
sure. And I can promise we'll talk about that movie again here in a little bit. But
Yes, we will.
what about you, Cody?
So my only rule that I was going off of when I did my list is that I had to at least somewhat like the movie until the third act, whether it's decent or great. There's plenty of movies that I dislike that I could go hard on the third act, like Seed of Chucky or something. But
yeah.
so my bottom couple are movies that I thought were just fine, and then the third act kind of just dropped it out of it into a movie I didn't care for. So number 10 is The Village with M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay.
This was the first M. Night Shyamalan movie that I saw that like just didn't match the hype. I feel like they really marketed off of the horror side of it. It ended up being a lot more of a slow burn drama, and they could have done something to bring it all together. What they ultimately do in the last 20 or so minutes kills the movie for most people. Having Bryce Dallas Howard go off on her little journey and all the different revelations back to back, it just kind of, you feel like you were cheated out of the last 2 hours. So never been a fan of that one. I think the third act is what kills it for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of had the same rule as you, but the problem is my numbers 7 through 10, I can say I really am not a huge fan of these movies. And I might have been a little more into them had the ending been different.
Yeah. That's pretty
I'm
much
gonna
the same thing as me.
Yeah. I'm going to start that off with The Empty Man. I
Okay.
was having fun with this movie. But when we got to the ending, everything after, for those of you that have seen it, everything after the moment where he goes to the park and everybody stands up when he stands up and they all turn around and look at him and they start running at him. Everything after that, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So yeah, again, this one I'm not even going to spoil. Just the biggest problem I had with this movie, honestly, besides that third act, the movie felt like it went on for like 6 hours. This was like one of the longest. It was like a 2.5 hour movie that could have been an hour and a half.
I don't know.
And then there's not the payoff that I was hoping for. I was hoping for something different to happen. I think the ending could have been a much better ending if they didn't try it. Not every movie has to have a twist. And sometimes a straightforward ending is better for me. And this is a movie where they tried to do a twist and it fell flat for me. So number 10 for me is The Empty Man.
Number 10 for me is the witch.
Really?
Yeah, like we find out that their goat is a devil, and then she gets naked and goes dancing, and
Awesome.
Who hasn't been there though?
it's just like,
You know?
okay, like I don't know. I was kind of bummed out at that ending a
Right.
lot. So I felt like it was a slow burn for just like a silly ending.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I found out my goat was a devil and I had to go dancing naked in the woods, we wouldn't be doing this.
And
We'd
then
be
like
set.
Oh,
fly
you're right.
away.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
I
Thursday.
agree. You talk to Mike and Jay and Dave and you tell them we want them here. We would love to have them. I seen that we got another. See, maybe I'm not in the minority here.
No, nobody likes the ending of High Tension.
No,
I think when
it's a
Cody and I
pretty
were surprised, we were just thought, why isn't it on the list as opposed to
Yes.
an audible mention?
correct.
No, yeah, I get it. But I mean, like, I thought that everybody loved this ending except for me. I thought I was the only person.
I'll tell you what it is. It's those
I
that
don't-
defend it are just loud as fuck, because I've had conversations with people where they're like, this is bullshit. This is why it makes sense. And I'm like, no. All right.
Right. That's hilarious because I'm really shocked. Yeah, I'm happy because I always felt like a dick for not like. I was like, maybe I didn't get it.
I just like at the end when she's like in the psych ward and she's like looking over. She's like, I don't know. It makes
It's
me
a creepy shot. It's a creepy shot
Yeah.
for sure.
Now it's dark. I hope you enjoy being a member. Hey, Amanda. Jigsaw.
Hi.
Love Lies Bleeding. I still haven't seen it. Is that the movie that the
Haven't
guy
seen
got
it yet.
caught touching himself to in Detroit?
Yeah,
I
probably.
think so, yeah.
Yeah,
That was the
that's
one.
yeah. I was like, wow, I know where that's at.
Mm-hmm.
Was
May
it-
be a hot
was it you?
take, but I'm not a fan of the final act of the OG Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
a
don't like it
fair
either.
fucking take.
You mean the
And we are
the blow up
Oh,
doll?
we're gonna talk about it.
The blow up
Oh,
mom
Lord.
doll?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the
Oh.
last 5 minutes. I wouldn't say the final act, but
And Ken loves that car.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm already getting upset. Tatum, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Tatum.
The Nightmare remake, I think they should have stuck with the idea of Freddy being innocent, which is fine. I love the Vivitch. Me too.
Okay.
Please don't. We're in really close quarters.
The Witch was not it. All right. So we are up to number 9. Cody, would you like to start us off with that one?
yeah, another movie that I didn't love, but the third act could have saved it for me, and it kind of just nosedived. And it was Alex Garland's Men.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I didn't care for it. It just didn't really work for me. But you get into the third act, and it's kind of like just let's just do wild, crazy stuff. And like it's
Right.
you can't forget it. It's burned into your mind forever. The images that you see, but it's just like 20 minutes straight of like, what the fuck am I watching? Where's this going? And then whatever, you just leave, and then you're mad that you have to review it and give your public opinion on it.
That definitely got a lot of backlash
Mhm.
Yes.
from people that
I
that
still
wanted
get
to-
comments on that. It's like, oh, this guy sounds like he's hiding something, and I'm like, what the fuck? Okay.
No, I'm making it pretty obvious. I don't like
Yeah.
this film. That's
Yeah.
what I'm hiding.
Yeah.
I mean, it got touched on in the comments. The sequel did, but I'm going to go with The Gallows. I thought that while I never had like super high hopes on this movie, it's one of those movies that I respected because of what the marketing did. You know,
Yeah.
using the Charlie stuff on TikTok and YouTube, and people were really getting into the Charlie thing, and
Mhm.
like even our kids were doing the Charlie challenge with the pencils and the
Yeah.
you know. So it was like one of those things where I was like, you know, this is really cool. What they're doing with the marketing is really cool. So we went into it, and the ending just makes absolutely no sense from the point that you figure out what's going on in the theater to the very end when it's like, wait a minute, this kid died 25 years ago and his daughter's 16 and in high school. Like,
Didn't he die in high school?
yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like, he
yeah,
died,
like-
but then he had a daughter who was at the high school. It's like
I don't know.
the mother was pregnant for like 875 months.
That sucks.
And like that had to be the daughter walked out. It was like the
She was 16 when she came
yeah,
out.
when she came out of the womb. So
Speaking
it
of men.
there you go. She was like Stargate.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. Like, and it was a dumb, like, we had to make another sacrifice in his name. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it makes zero sense. It did not come together at all for me. So I'm going with a movie that I wanted to like because of what the marketing did. Because I feel like, especially now, it's very hard to market a horror movie correctly without giving away too much of the movie. We've seen it recently with Smile, did a great job with their marketing. We saw it, like I said, with this movie, did a great job with its marketing. And without giving away too much, and the movie was still poop.
Yeah.
So for me, number 9, The Gallows. What about you, love?
My number 9 is Glass.
You have Glass at number 9?
Yeah, I do. I was really excited for the end of this like trilogy. And I felt like it was very underwhelming. Like, you have your 3 leads die and one literally drowns in a mud puddle. I was just like, really? Like, this is how we're gonna end this? Like, it was just it's such an underwhelming letdown for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have done them better than that. I don't know. It wasn't
I've
great.
always really appreciated how subversive it was. I know I'm in the minority, but
Yeah.
I think it sets it up so obviously where it's like big third act at the bridge or what that building, and then they're like, nope, fuck you, they all
You have-
die. And I'm
They all
like,
died
I'm here
in
for
one
it.
drowns in a mud puddle.
I will say, like, if we're talking about like the most shocking and amazing endings, Split. I literally in the theater was
when
like,
you
whoa,
when you
no
found
way!
out that it was
And like
from-
everybody in the theater looked at me like I was on fucking heroin, man. I was like, you uneducated swine, you go watch Unbreakable now and you figure out why I'm excited. Like that's always been my favorite Shyamalan film.
yeah,
So like
Yeah.
when that happened, I freaked. I did not see that coming a mile away.
yeah.
But we'll talk about Glass in a little bit too. What about you, Chris? What's your number 9?
Glass was literally on my list as well. So, she touched upon exactly the puddle and all that. It's cool to hear Cody's thoughts on how it worked for him. I didn't think about it that way
Yeah.
in setting up the big bridge fight and all that. Though not too much else to say. If you want, I could also start number 8. Unless it...
Well, I'll say this too to continue talking about Glass a little bit. I don't know if we're going to be defending each other's picks too often, so I'll take the moment. But what I liked about it was that it kind of recontextualizes the trilogy where Mr. Glass ends up being the good guy. Kind of like
Yeah.
his
Okay.
mission is fulfilled through all the stuff that had to happen. In the first film, the goal is just to prove that this is true, to prove that there's somebody opposite of him, which he does. And then you have Split, that's the side story, that it all comes together. And so by the end of the film, when you have David Dunn's son, and you've got Anya Taylor-Joy, and you've got Elijah's mom sitting there, and suddenly now the world is awakened, and now this new era of superhuman beings is going to be birthed. Like I just thought that was a really cool way to wrap it all up. Like I totally understand why people don't get it, because it's a pretty harsh ending, specifically just because of the long gap that we had between Unbreakable and Split. If they had been done a little closer in succession, I don't think it would have hurt as much. But because Split happened more than a decade later, then you get that ending tease, and your mind gets like really big of all this crazy stuff that's going to happen. It's hard to go for that, but I've always dug it. So
And that's why we always say to each their own.
Yeah.
That's why these lists are so fun. If we all had the exact same list, there'd be no reason to come here and do this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, JDev. Not horror related, but during an upcoming movies video, Chris mentioned The Tomorrow War, which wasn't on my radar. When I watched it, I absolutely loved it. Currently my 10th favorite movie
Oh,
of
cool.
all time.
Glad you
Wow.
liked
Thank
that
you,
much.
Chris.
That's pretty cool.
That's always got to be
All
that's a good feeling, man. When somebody
Yeah.
says, I wasn't aware of this, you showed it to me and I love it now.
Hmm.
it's my favorite
I just
thing.
had someone tell me that about House a couple months ago, and I'm going to tease it again because we've been teasing it on social media. At the beginning of June, Ash and I are releasing a review of a movie, and it's the first and only movie on Sledgehammer Horror that I've given a full 5 out of 5 skulls to on a review. And I just turned someone else onto this movie. They're like, "How did I miss this movie?" And I'm like, it
was very difficult to find negatives in this movie.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah, Showgirls is pretty good.
yeah, my favorite. OG Nightmare. Dice. I thought the Vivage had a heartwarming ending.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love men, but yeah, hey, thank you, Chris. We appreciate that you remember. Sinister. I thought the ending was a letdown. Ooh, see, I like that one. What's up, Mr. Anthony? All right, man. Your wish is my command.
Ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby, ooh, baby.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks,
We
Anthony.
appreciate it. See, and there it is. I love High Tension. See, we are getting people in here that do love
I like High Tension.
High
too.
Tension. It too, worst ending. Wild Wild West started off bad and it got worse. All right, so we are up to number 8. That'll be me starting us off. And again, this is a movie where, again, no, it's a horror movie. It is a horror. All I'm gonna tell you guys, it came out in 2018. That's all I'm gonna tell you guys. And it's
And yeah, just leave
Yeah,
it there.
yeah.
You cannot keep a secret.
I know,
for
I know.
nothing.
I'm sure Cody knows what it
Summer
is.
of '84, maybe. I don't know.
Could be somewhere around there. That came out in 2018 for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
I know, because everybody hated me for not putting Halloween 2018 at number 1. It's burned into my mind.
Yeah. Hey, Cody and Chris brought me here. Well, thank you. I'm
Nice.
glad they did.
It's Jason Voorhees.
My man Jason. So number 8 for me, again, not every movie has to have a twist. Sometimes a straightforward ending of being an evil doll is just fine. You don't need a guy in the walls. So I'm gonna go with The Boy. I thought the movie was fine. Like I really thought, I thought the acting was great. Lauren Cohen, I thought she did great in the movie. I thought it was really sad how the parents went out to sea and, let themselves be swept away. And just to find out that, this boy had killed a little girl and then hidden the walls for all these years and still had the voice of a little boy. And then you found her dress on that mannequin. I was like, I want to go home. So yeah, the one cool thing about this third act though, that I will give it credit for is when her abusive boyfriend bites it.
Yeah.
I do like that part. I think that part's fun. I always get happy when I see douchebags bite it, but overall,
that's why we watch horror.
Yeah. Overall, I was not a
Living
fan
by
of
two.
how they portrayed the whole third act of the boy being in the wall, and then the sequel comes. And
I
The sequel
hate
was
it. I
worse
did
for
not-
me. Sequel
I
was
didn't
bad.
like the sequel at
It went
all. How like it was
supernatural.
actually possessed. It like
Yeah.
everything that the boy did.
that's
it
what I'm
like
saying. Like
completely.
that to me, the sequel, it's much like Halloween Resurrection. Like Halloween Resurrection, I dislike that
always-
movie just because of what it did to Halloween H2O, which had the best ending in the franchise. I still love Resurrection. It's fun, but it pisses me off just because it went back on what H2O did. The Boy 2, Brahms, or whatever the fuck it was called, went back on what the original one did at the end. It's just kind of, it makes the original look dumb, even worse than it is. So, yeah, number 8 for me is The Boy. What about you, my love?
My number 8 is Jigsaw 2017. When you find out the end, when like Logan reveals who he is and what he did, and like how John saved him because he should have died because he made a mistake. Like, really, do we even know who John is at this point? Like, he doesn't save it. I don't know. Whatever. It just, the whole movie was okay until the ending. I felt like really brought it down. Like he wasn't the accomplice the entire time. Like you're telling me before Amanda, before Hoffman. Like, come on, where was he in all these other movies then?
Right.
So yeah, that is my number
Not a
8.
fan of that one
Which
either.
is fair. What about you, Chris?
I have Tusk next. This is
This makes me giggle.
Kevin's. I went through my phase where I listened to all Kevin Smith podcasts and movies and whatnot. He seems like a nice guy, and I'm always rooting for him to come out with like a good, well-received movie. And I thought he had something really special with Tusk. I feel like the first 30-40 minutes of Tusk is actually really well done and executed. You actually feel horror. Like Justin Long is awesome in that movie. He's very creepy. You're like, what do you mean a bug bite got his leg amputated and you're just stuck in this house? Like, it was setting up so well. Then I wouldn't even say towards the third act, just like halfway into the movie, the Johnny Depp stuff, the podcast boyfriend, and then it just got so cheesy and goofy once you see him in the full like walrus setup. Like, I felt like there should have been a slower build up to that transformation. So Tusk is something I always felt like, there was something there, and it just got derailed.
Yeah.
And
I love when she brings him the fish
when
and
they're
he like
feeding him.
comes out with his like puppy dog eyes and she feeds. Like, they just left him. They just put him in a zoo.
put him in a zoo.
That's hilarious. That makes me chuckle every time.
It's a movie I've always wanted to love, but just can't get there.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't hate the movie. I thought it was I thought it was fine, but I never had any desire to go back and rewatch.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I wanted to. I really wanted to like this movie, but just it's a little too goofy. So what about you, Cody? What's your number 8?
My number 8 is Jordan Peele's Us. This is a movie that I really dug the first act of it, where it's home invasion, and the second act I think builds a lot of intrigue and starts to raise a lot of questions. And that's one of those movies where as soon as they start to answer the questions, it just slowly starts to derail for me. I think that Jordan Peele is a really interesting filmmaker. He's got a lot of my attention right now, where I want to go see his stuff day one. But his last 2 films, much more so with Us than Nope, I think his big issue with me is that his like underbelly ideas, like the symbolism and the metaphors and everything, tends to get too big for the base level concept that he's telling. Like when you have this one and it's about this whole underground society and they're somehow tethered, where if one person does something, they do the same thing, and they're apparently they all live eating rabbits, and there's all these scissors and all these suits. Like, it's just every single one, the logic side of my brain just fucking short circuits.
Hard to ignore.
Where I'm like, okay, if somebody moves across the country, what happens? The dude just like floats through the hallway all the way to Maine. Like, I don't know. people tried to defend it and tried to give context to it, and to me, it falls apart with each additional answer he gives.
Yeah.
Well, just like, what if someone moves out of the country?
Or what if somebody wasn't
Yeah.
born in this country, so
And then they move here.
They don't have a doppelganger because
Yeah.
they weren't born here. Yeah.
Once you start to sit and think about that movie for too long, you're like,
you
wait
can't
a minute.
you can't really think
Well,
about
it's a funny story. So I remember when that movie came out, my group of friends, like, we really liked Get Out, and our buddy Brian Lomax wasn't as hot on it. And then we all saw Us, and we were waiting on Brian because we really didn't like Us. And then Brian comes into our group chat, and he's like, I thought Us was really good. It was so much better than Get Out. And we were like, what? What about this and this and that? And we went on, like, listed all these issues, and then all you see is the dots. And he goes, you're right. Fuck this movie.
That's so funny.
Oh, that's great, man.
changed his mind.
Yeah, changed his mind immediately.
Yeah.
Tatum is very good for that, by the way. Mr. J, you must know me.
He loves Trick or Treat.
Yeah. We will be watching that Monday. If you guys want to join us, we're doing our watch along that won our viewers poll. So Monday
The
we'll be
Collector.
doing a watch along for The Collector. Hopefully you guys can come and join us. It'd be a good time.
Love The Collector one and
in a
two.
long time.
Yeah, it's such a great movie.
I love that movie.
April Fool's Day remake, third act was terrible.
I didn't think I
Didn't-
saw
The whole the April Fool's Day remake in general is just terrible.
I think you do, Chris. I think you do. Oh shit, Chris and Cody talk about some serious gruesome twosome potential. Yes. Yes. Wow. 8 is The Happening, so fuck the boy 2 is right, Ken. Thank you, D.
What really was happening in the happening?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What's up, Frank?
Unintentional comedy gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tusk, perfect pick. The ending is batshit, and that's saying something.
It's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't get into it. I want to. I want to like that movie.
Yeah.
I just can't. All right, so now we're up to number 7, and that'll be you starting us off, Ash.
Number 7, you already talked about this one, and it's The Open House. There were so many unanswered questions. It was just like they just like ended it. Like, I don't know, they were just dead. Like, he was by the river dead, she's dead, and then the dude just goes to another open house. Like, I don't know. It was kind of unforgettable too. Like, I forgot about that movie for a long time.
See, what bums me out the most about that, I don't need to have every question answered, but we never find out who the killer is. And I get it. That's supposed to be the scary part of it. It could be anybody.
Him because then he can go to these different open houses.
Right, when all you see is his shoes, I'm like, come on, at least tell me something about the guy. Give me something. So I like I said, it was on my list too, so I completely agree.
And like, why is he killing? Like, he's like, you're not selling your house. Like, that's why he's killing people. Like,
yeah, you're not going to be doing this.
You're not doing that. You're staying in this house. You're not selling this house.
Not on my watch. So what about you, Chris? What's your number 7?
It's funny. I think we all have a M. Night Shyamalan pick. It makes sense with his third endings having to be twist-filled.
Yeah.
I chose Old. Old.
Yeah.
Old was what every time. I don't know what it is. It just M. Night knows how to deliver either a trailer or a premise that'll make you go ooh. And like gets you excited, interested, and the trailer for Old got me. I was like, a beach where you get old, and how do they go about surviving it, and the things that could happen. So cool. And for the most part, it was getting me. And then you have little kids that end up making a baby, and it feels like they ran out of ideas pretty quickly as they went on. Like, you did all the interesting stuff 20 minutes in, and then it's like, well, now we got to wrap this thing up. And I just didn't even like the explanation for the beach and like a science experiment to test medicines and all that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Felt so out of nowhere. I applaud M. Night for trying, but that one just, no. That was one of my least favorite M. Night third acts.
Shyamalan's like that abusive boyfriend that promises he's not going to hurt you anymore, and you get suckered back in, and then all of a sudden,
I'm
like,
hoping Trap is good.
he comes home to tuna casserole. And,
Yeah.
Oh man. See, and that's just it, because you watch these movies and you're like, yes, this is great. Yes, this is great. And I feel like for him, when he hits, he really, really hits, and when he misses, it's a huge miss.
Yeah. Extreme hit or miss.
Yes, it's a Barry Bonds style swing and a miss over that one. So I wasn't a fan of Old at all.
No.
I first, second, or third act. So what about you, Cody? What's your number 7?
My number 7 might surprise some people because I know a lot of people hate this entire film, but I got Halloween Ends on here. I'm one of those people that, despite the fact I think it was ridiculous to try to do this in the third act of a trilogy, I really liked what they were doing with Corey Cunningham. I thought it was interesting. I love the Christine influence. I'm a massive fan of that movie. And one of my biggest criticisms of the Halloween franchise, or I mean, most slasher franchises kind of fall victim to this, is just wash, rinse, repeat. Let's just do the same shit. And this one genuinely tried to do something interesting and different. Doesn't fully succeed, but I at least appreciate the effort. But this movie infuriated me in the theater for the opposite reasons that it infuriated everybody else. Everybody else got mad that we're taking focus away from Michael and he's living in a sewer, and then Corey comes and body slams him and takes his mask. I get mad as soon as we get to.
I think we lost Cody there for a second.
Uh-oh.
I still see him. I still see you.
I'm still here.
I see you.
Are we?
Cody?
No, there you're back.
We're back?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, everybody seemed to get mad at that movie for the first couple of acts where all the things happening where Michael is relegated to the sewer and they come and body slam him, and, you know, Corey's getting all the focus and the romance with Allison and everything. For me, it was the moment that he shows up in Laurie Strode's house and then they just dispose of him as if the movie wasn't all focused on him. And it's like, oh, yeah, we got to do Michael versus Laurie again. And so that was where I got really annoyed. It's like you committed almost 2/3 of this movie to this guy, and then you just got cold feet. And so, the third act of that film, and it's not even like an intense, like you, Ken. I love H2O, so it doesn't come anywhere close to the intensity or the awesomeness of their confrontation in that, or even 2018. It's just like he's old and slow, and we're just going to make it definitive for the sake of making it definitive. Okay, whatever.
I completely agree with what you said about Halloween Ends being a fine movie, a dog shit end to this trilogy. Because I agree with you. I respect the fact that they went out, they took a big swing, they were trying to do something different. Because exactly what you said, wash, rinse, repeat. You know, it's the same shit over and over. But with this movie, they're like, you know what? Let's do something. If this would have been, you know, the second part of the trilogy, or even if Corey would have had a part in the second movie, that would have let us, you know, oh, we do know this guy.
Yeah.
You know, so when it came completely out of left field, I feel like it would have sat better with people. Ashley and I are actually doing a series right now called Trailer Revisited, where we go back and revisit trailers and talk about how marketing affected movies.
Yeah.
And this is a movie that the trailer makes this movie seem like we're going to get just the big epic Jamie and Michael showdown, and we don't.
Nope.
And that's where I take
agree.
issue with the people that love the movie that are like, this was always the plan. I'm like, if it was always the plan, then Blumhouse would have been totally cool putting it in the trailer. They were hiding it.
Yeah.
Because they knew it wasn't going to work for most people.
Yeah.
Right. And like I said, it was the plan from the beginning. But if that was the plan, like you said, if that's the plan from the beginning, they would have at least made some mention of Corey and Halloween Kills, I feel like.
Yeah. I'll never buy that story.
Nobody ever wants to just be like, well, let's take a random shot in the third movie and we're going to know about it from the beginning and just we'll see what happens. We don't have millions of dollars on the line or anything. So my number 7, Ashley talked about it, so I'm not going to go too in depth, but it's Jigsaw. It's just how outrageous it is. I mean, I kind of figured it was a prequel from the beginning, but to figure out how outrageous it truly was, like I've been his apprentice since it's Jigsaw. But yeah, he's been in no other movie, never mentioned in any other movie, but now we find out he's there, and then he just disappeared forever. So that to me was the big one.
Yeah.
So real quick, we'll catch up on the chat before we get into Chris's number 6. I never watched Old, didn't hear good things. Maybe you'll like it. Just wasn't for me. Ooh, the last act in I really love that last act. But again, to each their own. Truth or Dare. Wasn't a big fan of that ending either. Let's just put it on YouTube. I think he has more hits, honestly. In my opinion, I think M. Night has more hits than misses.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, he's got a few all-timers. He's got a handful of movies that are just fine, and then he's got a handful of movies that are cemented as the worst ever. So he's all over the spectrum.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, that's what kind of makes it fun going into an M. Night movie.
Oh, yeah.
You never
don't know what
you're
gonna get. You know, like,
yeah.
Am I gonna look? I have really high expectations for Trap, so I hope they don't boot this one. But
me too.
I agree. I think Corey should have survived. And Halloween. Michael imprints on him. He's like, "I love you, Corey," and then he's just like, "Ah, fuck it, you're going after Lori, and that's my girl." So he kills him. I'm like, didn't really work out.
Yeah,
the way he hoped.
if they killed Michael and that like released him, like I would have preferred that. Like, if we're gonna go for the happy ending, why does Lori get her happy ending and Allison is just like, sorry,
Another dead body for me.
yeah.
Me too, Tatum. Yeah, agreed, 100% agreed. Retribution 87 starts good and the third act ruins the film. Never seen it. So check that out. I'm still going H2O, buddy. I know you have been. It took me a while to warm up to it. It really did. I like his first one for the most part. Actually, I like the second and third act of his. I know. The only cool thing about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is that's the closest we'll ever get to Michael B. and Jason Voorhees. Like that was a Jason Voorhees movie wrapped up in a Halloween movie. So I will say that.
With white horses and dead moms and
Oh yeah, there's shit I won't defend about it. That's part of it, yeah, for sure.
It's very Rob Zombie-esque.
What? The Mist is definitely number one. There'll never be an ending as ballsy and frenetic as that. I love that ending. Personally,
Me
personally, I love that ending.
No.
Stephen King prefers the ending, so there's no more conversation to be had.
Yep, that's done. Stephen King prefers it. That's a wrap. See, we got more people. I think Rob Zombie's 2 is better than 1.
Wow.
But see, if you're watching Rob Zombie's Halloween 1, I have to watch the theatrical cut. I can't watch the director's cut.
Both of them. Both of the theatrical cuts are far superior. When you get the director's cuts, that's where you get Michael talking and you get the unnecessary SA scene in the first one, and that's where his worst tendencies come out in full drove.
When you see Michael going, "Die!" I'm like, what? What the fuck is this?
I can't.
The only moment in that whole franchise to me that was worse than Michael's die moment was in 2018 when Sartain put on the fucking mask. I wanted to get up and walk out of the theater when Dr. Sartain stood up in front of the car with the Michael mask on. I was like, we're getting the fuck out of here. She was like, we've already sat through most of the movie.
Make room for my patient.
I like the concept of that, but I get you. The execution of that is weird.
Yeah. A question for Cody. Obviously, they're going to keep making Saw films. Right now, they're doing prequels. Do you think they're ever going to follow up to Saw 3D and follow up to the present timeline?
Dude, I think probably have contingency plans out the ass for however long they have Tobin Bell with them. I think they're going to stick with this for as long as he's with us, and then after that, we'll get 4 or 5 year break, and then they'll catch back up afterwards. It's going to be one of those franchises that I think goes on forever.
Yeah,
for better or worse.
Then we'll have an older Carrie Elways doing the shit that Tobin Bell is doing now.
Yeah,
he made his presence there in the third act of Saw 3D. So we're up to number 6 now, and that will be Cris starting us off.
Not even kidding. That's literally my next one, Saw 3D. Y'all are talking about Jigsaw, and I'm just like, Saw 3D is the worst third act of the entire franchise. So starting off, big Saw fan since the beginning. I remember me and my dad tradition every year to go see those Saw movies, and it was just so fun seeing the crowds get smaller and smaller every movie. It'd be Friday opening night, and when Saw 2 was huge, and then just lower. And, you stick with the lore. You even watch YouTube videos at that time, and I was all excited. The ending for Saw 3D was predicted like at the end of the second movie with Gordon, being an apprentice all along. And it's like you just came off a high, too, with with Saw 6. And that being really good, and it got people excited again. It's like, oh, they're back, and the dip in quality was just crazy to me. It was a terrible way to wrap up what was like a pretty compelling and fun series for a while. So I was always disappointed with the last third act of Saw 3D.
Yeah,
I love the fact that you are giving flowers to Saw 6 because that's my second favorite of the franchise.
Yeah, that one's great.
I love Saw 6. I think Saw 6 is so damn good and extremely underrated. People look at it like, oh man, it's a 6th movie in this franchise, but they really did come back and punch you in the mouth with Saw 6. So I really love it. When I get Roderick Heffley say, "You killed my dad, you motherfucker," I'm like, yes, you go, loaded diaper. What about you, Cody? What's your number 6?
My number 6 is the Pet Sematary remake. Was it 2021? Something like that.
2019.
2019. Okay, yeah. So this is another movie that I didn't love the marketing really fucks this movie bad. This is one where they clearly crafted this movie to subvert the expectations of fans of the original or people that have just read the book, whatever. It's obviously crafted that way, and they give away the biggest gut punch surprise in the marketing blatantly, and it was impossible to avoid. They even put it on the poster. To hell with whoever marketed this film. That's one point. But you get to the movie and it's like, okay, they're doing some interesting things. I don't think that it's as creepy or as memorable or as campy or as stomach churning as the original by a long shot, but it's decent enough. And then you get to the surprise where the daughter is going to be the one that bites it instead of Gage. She comes back, and that's where the movie had its opportunity to really shine, is in the third act, where now you have somebody that's not an infant. It's somebody who can actually think and can remember and has this cognitive ability to realize that she was dead and brought back. And what's that going to mean? And that whole third act of the movie felt like it was on fast forward. Like from the moment she comes back, it's just like one family member dies after another. And then you get that weird ending where they're all standing outside the car looking at Gage. And it was just such a massive disappointment.
Yeah. And
I agree.
I was so bummed. Again, that is one of the trailers that we're revisiting. So you guys, I believe that comes out. No, Jennifer's Body comes out this Saturday. So next Saturday will be Pet Cemetery. I was so amped when I first saw the trailer, because you get a lot in the trailer of those kids in the animal mask doing the funeral procession line. And I was like, oh, we can finally see some of the backstory and what these kids, like, I was hoping they'd have a bigger impact on the movie. And that's like the old, you see them as much in the trailer as you do in the movie. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that was my favorite part of the trailer, was seeing those kids. I thought that could have been something dope. So, my number 6 is a movie that either you love it or you hate it. And I hated it as a kid. I love it now, but I still think the third act just pisses me off, because Friday the 13th, The New Beginning, is a Jason movie. Okay. Take out that stupid third act, take out the Roy Burns shit. It's a Jason movie. Like, I can't get into it because no, it's not. Okay. I can't get into it because it's not Jason. It is Jason. The whole movie is Jason, and it's a brutal Jason.
That's not what it says. They say it's Roy Burns.
I actually like that one.
I have fun with it.
It's grown on me, yeah.
Hey, Ashley.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
Your ass is not shiny or metal.
But yeah, I the older I've gotten, the more, cause I was like that as a kid. I was like, this isn't a Jason movie. This is stupid. And now I love that movie, and I hate the end. I think the whole third act. Once you see it's Roy Burns, I'm just like, what the fuck are we? And the way that the mask is split, like it looks so fucking ridiculous. Like, he went into a store and was like, can you make me a Jason Voorhees mask, latex and all? Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So my number 6, Friday the 13th, The New Beginning, and it also gave us those damn enchiladas.
It did. And my number 6, I actually like this movie, but just the ending. It's Oculus. The ending is like, they went through all this. He gets out, and then like, I don't know. Like, is him and his dad crazy? Was it really the mirror the whole time? Like, that's where my, like, I don't like the ending. Like, I feel like it was. Really,
I love that ending.
It's just really sad.
Oculus,
They try to like, they're trying to do better for themselves. They had this crappy childhood because their dad was like insane, and then she dies, and he gets taken back to the insane asylum.
I'll throw you a bone on that one. I've never loved the third act, not because of specifically what happens, but I get really disengaged with movies that mess with your head so much where you don't know in any given scene if it's real or if it's a dream or an apparition, and movies that try to like chop that up way too quickly. Oculus being one of them. Like, I get disengaged because I just can't figure out what's real or what's not, and I don't have the impact. So I kind of agree with you.
Well,
I'll take it. I'll take your kind of agree.
I will say,
why are you the way that you are?
You married me.
I know.
My wife always says, you knew what you were getting into.
He
she says that to you all the time.
Okay, I gave him a lot of years, and
a lot has
around.
changed
You stuck
since high
around.
school. Okay, fuck, man, 19 years this year, man.
Yeah, and you're still here. So
yeah.
Congrats.
You two are incredible. Love y'all so much. Don't forget about me. Please always want it to be. Oh, of course you will. Cody is incredible. So is Cris. They're absolutely amazing creators. So make sure you guys, if you haven't, now's a great time. Go subscribe to their channels. If you're not already, if this is your first time here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you along for the ride as well. Our review will be up tomorrow evening. That's all we can say right now at this moment, but the review will be up tomorrow evening. Go back and watch the first one. Saw 3D and Jigsaw go back and forth for the worst in the franchise to me. The three goats of horror movie news. Appreciate it. I have some issues throughout the remake. I will say better than Bloodline.
Oh, yeah.
Bloodlines made me sad, like really sad. I was really excited for that movie, and I was just sad after.
The thing that pisses me off the most, honestly, when it comes to movies like that, and we were just talking about it with The Boy, and you know, when you go in and you erase everything that we already know and try to build your own story, it really pisses me off because I feel like it's lazy. Rather than trying to connect it to what you had, you're just going to make it your own just because that's easier for you. Yeah. And that's where I get pissed off.
Yeah.
Not only that, I saw that at Fantastic Fest, and the director and a couple other people were doing a Q&A afterwards, and I didn't enjoy the movie. I didn't have high hopes for the movie, but the only thing that I was kind of holding out hope for is like, well, maybe if they explore the Wendigo, that'll be so unique and different that it'll make it cool. And the movie, spoiler alert, actively avoids it and kind of retcons it. Mm-hmm. And so she was asked that in the Q&A, and her answer was more or less like, yeah, I know that's canonical in the book and they mention it in the movie, but I thought it'd be interesting if they were just all lying. And to me, that felt like the most bullshit. That felt like the most bullshit way of saying we didn't have the money.
Right.
Or whatever. And it was just like, you made me hate your movie even more with that answer.
Well, see, because we've written a Pet Sematary fan film that focuses on the procession line of the kids and the deal that the Wendigo has with the town and how the kids are meant to feed the Wendigo the animals, and that's what keeps it safe. And when that stops happening and people move into town, it starts to feed on humans. And you know, the whole town has an agreement, the town of Ludlow, with the Wendigo and the bloodlines and all that shit. And then we watched that movie and I was like, ours could have been better than that. Well, I'm not very smart. Have you guys heard that the woman who played the first victim in Jason died? Oh no, I didn't, but that's awesome. Or that's awful, not awesome. Sad. Very sad.
Like, that's so great.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. No, I'm not.
Her.
Yeah.
What do you have against her?
Thank you, Tatum, very much. I hate when I hear that people die. I get so awkward about it. Yeah. You should have seen me at my mom's funeral. People thought I was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
What's up, Alter King?
Hey, Alter King.
Saw is unironically one of my favorite franchises. For me, my top three in no particular order. Well, Child's Play is number one, obviously, but then Evil Dead and Saw kind of fill out the top three for me. Always been a fan of all three. So, I love this. Oh shit, Leach and 3C. God, that reading that never gets old. All right, so now we are up to number 5, and that'll be Cody starting us off.
All right, so my number 5 is going to be It, and it doesn't matter if you're talking about 1990 or It Chapter 2. Same issues, which is what pisses me off even more about It Chapter 2. And to be honest, I think most people that read the book feel the same way about the source material. The fact that we haven't figured out a way to better that by now kind of depresses me. But I love the It 1990 miniseries. It has a slew of problems, and I think it requires nostalgia to truly enjoy. But I've always liked it. But when you get to the spider, no, it just no, it's never worked. And then you get to It Chapter 2, and I didn't love that movie throughout most of it, but I was at least holding out hope that clearly they're not going to be dumb enough to do the same thing, right? Clearly, that'd be just, you know, what's the definition of insanity? And you get to the end of that film, and they're like, "It's different, guys. We put a CGI clown face on the spider." Fuck you. I hated that even more than 1990, which might be a hot take, but you have that whole thing, and then they bully Pennywise to death until he's a puddle. Not a fan.
Yeah. Which is very, very fair. My number 5 is It Chapter 2.
There you go.
And I agree with you, where I could go back. One thing I could say about these movies in particular, whether it be 90 or 2019, at least after the clown attack, you do have some semblance of a better ending.
Yeah.
I think that I cried in the theater for 2019 or It Chapter, 2019, when you have Richie crying at the quarry and then carving him and Eddie's initials into the bridge. That's fucking beautiful. And people are like, "Oh, he's gay." I'm like, just because, look, you can interpret it that way, and if he is, he is. Who gives a shit? He was in love with somebody. And I think they obviously hinted at it with the "I know your secret, your dirty secret," but I was just like, that's his best friend. His best friend, his entire life just died, and he put their initials together on a bridge. Whether that it's homosexual or not, it's fucking beautiful. Yeah. He loved this person with all his heart. He was wearing Eddie's jacket at that moment. Like, it's just a beautiful, beautiful moment. And then in It 1990, you have the scariest bike ride of all time, riding your wife comatose down the hill. In her way, go, ah, ah, ah! Like first was a clown. Now I'm going down on Hi-Ho Silver.
It woke her up.
Yeah, like I agree with you. When you saw Pennywise on the spider and then them bullying him to death and him turning into a little pancake nutsack head, it was just like way too much. It was like, he is the eater of worlds and of children, but don't hurt his feelings, or else he will shrivel up and die. So yeah, It Chapter 2, my number 5 as well.
So my number 5 is also no,
I'll say
it's not. My number 5 is The Turning. And this movie, it left me with so many questions. I felt like they were like, we're just gonna stop it here. Like, let's just end it here and not explain anything. Like, I was like, I have so many questions of what is going on. Like, is she crazy like her mom? Like, what's going on here? It's like they ran out of money and was just like, that's good enough. Go ahead, put that out.
I just realized real quick, Chris, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
I didn't let you do your number 6.
I did do my number 6. It was the Oculus.
What?
It was Oculus.
Oh, sorry. I feel like
shit.
an idiot now.
The cold
I thought I
setting
skipped
in.
you. Yeah. Fuck. I was like, fuck, I'm a dick. I skipped my wife.
I believe me, I would have been like, hello.
The couch better be comfortable tonight. So anyway, I'm not skipping you, Chris, because I'm not an asshole apparently. What's your number 5?
Well, I don't know if this will be a controversial one, but I thought about it and I like it for sure was on my list. Terrifier 2. So I really do like Art the Clown, and I love that they actually gave an actual story for the second our Terrifier movie, because I enjoy the first one, but I'm not big on Jim just randomly killing for no reason for like however long that movie is. I was really intrigued with the story they added in Terrifier 2, but the last act where it involves like some magic and the sword and all this kind of stuff and leaving so many things unanswered and Art's head giving birth to this other lady. I was like, I don't know, you're maybe pushing it a little bit here. And that movie was already pushing, what was it, 2 hours, 30 minutes or whatnot? I just felt like a lot of runtime to be able to explore some of these interesting ideas instead of like saving them for the third movie. So I don't know, am I alone in that, Cody? Or like, did you... What do you think of the third act in Terrifier 2?
Stop it!
I will agree that the movie's too long, but I always kind of use the defense of it. It was kind of going for that like Zack Snyder's Justice League thing where they crowdfunded it and they were just like, fuck it, we'll just do the big, giant, overstuffed version for all the fans that helped make it a reality. You could definitely cut some things out of the movie. And I don't really know how I feel about the very, like the epilogue, the very end with the birthing of the head. I think maybe we'll get context for that here this October. But I love the over the top cursed sword magic Valkyrie stuff. To me, that's what made me kind of charmed to Terrifier 2. I didn't love the first one, and I just loved how batshit the second one was.
I still like the second movie better than the first. Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before, Cody. I agree with Chris on this one. When we got to like the drowning and the swords and shit.
What have we got here? Fucking comedian.
But yeah, I'm with you, Chris. It's a little too. I love the movie. I love David Howard Thornton. I love Damien Leone. I love what they did with the movie. I wasn't a huge fan of all the only thing I'm mad about, Chris, is I don't have this movie on my list. That's the only thing I'm mad about now. It could have easily fit into my list. So. I got to give it to you. Great pick. So that was Cody's number 5?
Yeah.
I think that was everybody's number 5.
Yeah, that was everybody. Okay, damn, holy shit, I just went like way bananas there.
You're losing it.
Godzilla 97. While I don't border how this movie received the whole third act reveal straight up rip off of Jurassic Park, yeah, it's a huge rip off. Where are we at? The Descent. That's a good one. That's a really good
another one where they like switch up the ending.
Yeah, the ending is because it depends on what ending you've seen too.
Yeah,
I agree. I think
the American version is not very good.
Yeah.
No. I think that Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise is great. I think that Tim Curry's is scarier because if I saw Skarsgård's Pennywise, I'd be like, "Fuck that thing! That thing is scary. I'm not going anywhere near it." You know, Tim Curry's is like a regular. It's the John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
You know, where he's
Still
a beautiful clown on the outside and a monster on the inside. I've always been partial to Tim Curry's just because I feel like it's scarier of the two.
It's the subtle facial changes that he gives, where he's like jovial, and then he just looks at him like he's about to fuck him up. And you don't have that with Bill. It's all fucked up.
He's the goat for sure with that.
I don't know. It's hard for me because this is my favorite horror franchise. Well, I
misspelled months.
Huh?
I said you misspelled months.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the season 3 pissed me off. I don't think I've made that a secret. I didn't think that I could possibly dislike season 3 more than season 2 and the ending of season 3. Talk about bad third acts. Seeing
them as like the puppeteers, I freaking hated that. That looks so dumb.
What made it even worse for me, like I hated it when we watched it live. What pissed me off even more than that was when we were watching the behind the scenes afterwards.
Yeah. And
they did it all 3D and it was actually their faces. You could have left it like that and made it look so much better.
Yeah, I don't know why
superimposition of their faces over top of the dolls made me even fucking angrier after I seen the special features.
It looked horrible. Yeah.
It looked really, really bad.
And I don't know. Like Chucky and Tiffany are like back together again. And
when 2 weeks ago they were talking about how they wanted to kill each other.
It's just
Here's how you could save it. You start off season 4 with Andy landing on an airplane.
We hardly got any Andy at all.
I know. He's getting off an airplane, right? He just went and found De Silva, and they're back together, and they're going to go kill Chucky.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Give me more De Silva. You could save the whole thing by bringing me De Silva. The last half of Chucky season 3, episode 8. That's so funny. Yes, I agree with you, Nico. T2.
Terrifier 2.
Oh, Terrifier 2.
Oh, like, yeah. There's only one T2.
I love Terminator 2. Perfect all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. At first I was like, wait, what? Did I really seriously stroke out for a minute? Because I don't remember anybody talking about T2. Would you rather skip your wife's pick and have to admit you said it or just ignored it? I'm genuinely terrified of my wife.
As you should be.
She's the only person.
That means I'm doing my job.
Yeah, she's the only person on this planet that could genuinely break me down because of how much I love her and how much she knows all my weaknesses. You know, I can take criticism from anybody on this planet.
This is so true.
like when she criticizes me, I get such a baby.
He becomes a girl. I'm like, they literally just tore you down, and I just said that you like need to shave, and you're like, oh my god, I'm ugly.
I guess I'll just go. No, when I do shave, she was like, "Oh, your face." I was like, "Oh, my face? What do you mean? Oh, your face? Like, that's the one I was born with. What the hell's wrong with it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can take criticism from anybody, and it never bothers me. Her or my kids kills me, crushes me. Like one of my son's friends. I'm not making this up. Huge fan of Cris. And Jack was over this weekend. He was like, "Dude, I'm gonna watch your episode on Wednesday with Cris." I was like, "You know, you can watch them all. like, I let you sleep in my house and eat my food. Like, I'm joking. Obviously, I was super excited when he told me he was a huge fan of yours. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, well, that pizza's done. So
Yeah. I had my son, somebody asked him about his favorite YouTubers, and he was listing a couple of them off, and I don't even think he realized it. Like, I'm sitting over here just like, I haven't heard my name yet, you little fuck. Like,
Right?
we do that. My kids will always do that. Like, oh, I love this YouTuber. I love that YouTuber. I was like, that helps pay our bills too, right?
yeah.
We exist, kids.
They're like, you do.
Yeah. It's just so real quick. I'm fine with it. If they're doing it because
if
they
it's
want to make
good,
the best movie they possibly can.
Rather
I
than
was
rush
worried
it.
when they were going back to the every Halloween at Saw thing. I was like,
Yep.
oh,
Yeah.
here we go again.
Mhm.
Yep. I agree with you. When they said they were moving it back a year, I was like, yes. Give me the quality.
Means
I
they
don't
care.
mind waiting a year.
Mhm.
But give me the quality.
Yeah, but
Don't
it
make
better
me
be
wait.
good.
Yeah.
Like
Delayed pain.
Exorcist Believer. They're definitely worse third acts, but yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. What's up, love?
Hey, girl.
I don't want to have Tim Curry's head popping out of my shower drain. I would actually be fine with it.
I love it.
if
The,
he
the
did-
Home Alone 2 Tim Curry.
I was just gonna say, if he did, I'd just be like, "Get out of here, you nosy little pervert!"
I love you. That part.
Right? You got to do better than that. Oh man, sorry, I'm getting so into this Tim Curry shit that I gotta. These guys have things to do too. Thank you. I don't know what the hell happened. Like once we hit 5, it was just like a roller coaster up, and I'm not bitching. Thank you guys all for doing it. We appreciate you all being here. We appreciate you guys subscribing. We appreciate you subscribing to our friends and building this community that we love so fucking much. And it's just been a crazy couple of months. It's been super exciting, and we've had some tips from some friends to help make our sound quality better. We've had to run through a couple of loops and text messages for hours figuring that out. So
What are you doing to us, Amazon?
I know, but and that's
Literally.
what I love about this community is the fact that we can step up to each other and be like, yo, try this out. Maybe this will be a little better for you, And when you have real friends that are willing to come out and be like, look, I love what you do, but let's try to make it better. Well, how can you be upset about that? Like you get super stoked because you have a great community of people that care about you. So,
Right.
yes, the community, it just gets better and better the more you guys show up and keep coming out to these. It makes it so worth doing.
Nice.
Hey, now I can add something to the positive side of my review. Because I'll take it.
Thank you, T. Parker. And since we got a donation and somebody's giving us some CP3 love,
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
Where are you, you little shit? Chucky's gonna be a bro. Presto. You're dead.
God, I love that.
How can anybody not love that
I
movie? I don't
miss when the
understand
doll
it.
looked like that. I
I'm
don't
telling
know
you.
how it doesn't look that good anymore. It looks
There's a
so-
side of
God, I
depression that hits me now. I'm like, it'll never be that way again.
I know. We appreciate you guys coming home and listening to all your streams and videos is like therapy for me. Thank you.
That's
For
awesome.
real. Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Like that means more than any donation or anything like that. The fact that we can help make your day better, that's dope. And yes, it is, Ledger. All right, so we are up to number 4. That'll be me starting us off. I love you, J-Dev, but it's Scream 6. Just for the sheer fact of like what you were saying earlier, Chris, like we were starting to get these characters built on their own merit. They're doing their own things. We're not looking at them as Sydney and Gail. And I don't think Scream 6 is a bad movie. I think Scream 6 is the only Scream movie that gave me a real bout of anxiety when they were doing the ladder scene. Like that was real anxiety for me. I was like, oh my God, fucking just end this fucking scene, please. I thought there were genuine funny moments throughout the movie. I really enjoyed the movie, but when you have the third act that is the exact same as Scream 2, it's the reveal of the parent of the last killer in a theater. Like it's the exact, like all the originality goes downhill. And I've said this before. I hated the third act before I even seen the movie because it was spoiled for us. We had somebody that sent us a video like a week before the movie came out. I was like, you gotta check this out. And I clicked it, and it was the reveal of the ending. And I was like, dude, what the fuck did you do that for? That's not funny. Like I was genuinely pissed. I was like, dude, like I appreciate you being a friend and stuff, but don't like. That's a real good way for me to get really fucking pissed. Like now my wife and I, like, it was just, yo, check this out. It was just a video link. I trusted this person. I was like, oh, cool, I'll check it out. And I clicked it, and it was the actual reveal. And I was like, this better be fucking fake. And
It
we,
wasn't.
we get to that third act, and I was like, God! Like the minute I seen him, I was like, oh, well, there's the. I was pissed, immediately pissed. So
That's one of like my favorite parts about Scream is
Trying
trying
to
to figure out
decipher who it is.
Yeah.
you know, but it also shows that Kirby is a very bad FBI agent. If she didn't know that was his dad,
Yeah.
yeah,
A
do your
lot of
job a
plot
little
holes
bit.
in that one too. Yeah.
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 So, but yeah, the ending, like I said, the exact same type of reveal as the second movie, which to me, in my opinion, is a superior film anyway. Hopefully that gets me back on your good side, J-Dev. I love Scream 2, and I think that Scream 6 was an attempt to replicate the magic that happened with Scream 2 after Scream 1, and it fell flat for me. So, and especially with that ending. The ending really bummed me out because, like I said, a lot of what they were doing I thought was great.
Yeah.
And the first time I had ever felt true anxiety in a Scream film, I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy.
They just got too scared to like go
take a shot.
Yeah.
Take a fucking shot.
Like I don't know, maybe because of the original fans, they were afraid to take that chance, but it
could have been
didn't.
worse. It could have been Stu. So you want to give us your number 4, love?
Okay, my number 4 really is It Chapter 2. And you guys already talked about it. The bullying Pennywise is just like they didn't know how to end any of these movies, really.
Right.
Like, it was horrible. And just the way he looked, like that, like you said, ball sack. It looked horrible.
Why are you being so sad?
I don't want to be all aggressive about the ball.
First time for everything.
Yeah.
I will say though, if they ever do bring Stu back to a Scream movie, it better be like this.
What in the hell am I looking at?
That is Stu's face crushed right there, baby. So, all right. So you said It Chapter 2.
I did.
All right. What about you, Cris?
All right, pulling up my list here. I have the Halloween Curse of Michael Myers on my list, and I'm gonna go also with like either or of the version that they have for that. I don't like that's just the one I like the Michael Myers mask. I like the like the style of it. I think is like one of the early last cool looking Michael Myers movies in terms of atmosphere. Like I really do like that. But it is that ending. No matter which way you go with it, it just like I think was it Donald Pleasance? Is he passed away during that time or something? Where he couldn't be involved deeper with the ending. I think that messed them up. But that's one that like third act really ruins it for me because I was digging the atmosphere and the vibe of Michael, and then Man in the Hat and all that kind of stuff. I was like, what is this? And even worse with the cult aspect.
Yeah. You like the version where he molests his niece or the version where he doesn't?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You lost me at.
Oh, God! Oh, God!
Such a yeah. Not for
Just
me.
leave Paul Rudd.
Leave
him alone.
Everybody knows I'm not a huge Michael guy anyway, but that's just a movie I'm not a huge fan of. It just didn't do much for me.
You're not a huge. You talk about it badly every day. I swear.
You got a mask behind.
The only reason I go so hard on my Michael hate is because she loves it so much. Okay, that's the only reason. Like I'm jealous of Michael. Like he watches me make love, like from 3 different angles. I have to compete with this nightly.
I told you to put the mask on. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna rise up from the bed like Sartain.
Oh my God!
Wait, is that possible?
Evil comes tonight.
Woo! Keep going.
Cody, you gotta give us your number 4.
My number 4 is going to be the House on Haunted Hill remake. I can't remember what year it came out, but
sorry.
They do not agree with
apparently
you.
They are a fan of this third act. So the House on Haunted Hill remake, I saw this actually in theaters, and I always thought it was a pretty creepy movie. The way that they kind of do the little the stilted animation with all the ghost spirits, where they're kind of like they're moving in like stutters, and the atmosphere of the house. I always like the characters, the scene where the ghost version of Taye Diggs jumps into the blood pool, and then he comes in when she's trying to dig him out. Like, what are you doing? Like, It's a really solid movie from that era. But from the moment that, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Famke Janssen that gets busted through this wall, and then all of a sudden, like, the spirit cloud comes out, and then that's just a big cloud with CGI faces chasing everybody for the rest of the movie, and it looks horrible. It looked bad then. It looks even worse now. And the last time that I watched it, I was really excited to revisit it, and then it got to that part, I was just like, oh God, you look fucking terrible. And yeah, it nosedives.
And it's one of those things, like, even now, like when you're watching something in 2024 and you see it and you're like, oh, this looks terrible. It's going to look really bad in 10 years. Like, when you knew something back in that came out, what'd you say, 99?
Somewhere around there, yeah. I don't remember exactly the year, but it's, yeah.
When you watch it then and you're going, ooh, you know, like, you know it's not going to age very well. So before we get into the top three, first I'll say thank you, Josh. The Ward 2010. I've never seen that film.
Not missing anything.
Oh, okay. I see it has a really weird weak twist ending.
Yeah.
The Legend of Quilt Face movie is trash. I don't know what that is.
Quilt Face.
No idea. Nathan, stop. Don't encourage that behavior. For the first time in the season 1 of the show, and Child's Play 3 is my favorite, followed by Curse. Dig them both.
Nice.
Abigail's third act. Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say you didn't like it. I was like, what? I love that third act. Yeah, but it's great. It's my least favorite of the franchise. Has a lot to do with the writing, especially the third act. I know. Like, now I'm gonna start getting sad like Cody.
Yeah.
You talked about Adam Steinholt corpse and bathroom trap and B. I don't know what that means, Tyrese.
Talking in
lost
code.
That one, my friend. Yeah, I was not a fan of a lot of the later entries. 5, I think, is my favorite one, but after that, before that,
4 is horrible.
yeah, I wasn't a big fan of 3 either, and I know that a lot of people were.
Oh, 3 is my favorite of that series. The roller coaster one.
A lot of people love it.
I think it's so
it wasn't for me. See, and I don't think why does it do that? I don't think that the second and third act of Ghost Ship are bad. I just think that the opening is so good that it's hard to.
Yeah,
I still think the part where they're eating the food is
that's
the worst part for me. Like,
that's so gross.
But you know, that
funniest
first act
part of that.
So
funniest part of that movie is when the guy thinks he's going to get a piece of ass off of a ghost and falls. Like, every time you watch that, it's just hilarious. It's like part of your mind kind of gets it as a guy, and the other part of you is like, you dumb bastard.
Right. Just don't put us in that situation.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's Dangertainment you're talking about there. Deadly Delights.
Dangertainment.
Yeah, no, a lot of people don't like Resurrection. I think I have a fun time with it. I know Ashley does too.
I love Resurrection. It's like a comfort movie. It's all nostalgia.
Yeah, very nostalgia.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My
daughters wanted to paint my nails, and so we decided to do Sledgehammer horror colors. So
nice.
Run it. Let's do it. It's funny. I live in conservative country, USA. I had a guy at the store. I work in an auto parts store, and he was like, "Why you got your nails painted like that?" I was like, "My daughter's painted them." And he's like, "Well, why don't you take it off?" I was like, "Because I care more about what they think than you think."
Good answer.
He was not a fan. So, I mean, fuck, that's the truth. I don't give a shit what you think. I care what my daughters think. So, I'm very excited for both of these films. Both Cuckoo and Long Legs.
Yeah, I think you saw Cuckoo, didn't you? Cuckoo, sorry, you saw
Cuckoo was the shit.
I keep wanting to call it Cuckoo.
You didn't do a review on that one though, did you?
I'm waiting until a little closer to when it comes out. I've started to notice that reviews that come out too early, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So I waited for In a Violent Nature, and then I'll drop my Cuckoo review sometime mid-August.
Okay, because I'll say, if you have, I haven't watched it. I tell everybody this, especially like my friends and my peers, the people I look up to. I don't watch their review videos until I've seen the movie because I don't want it to sway my way of thinking
I do
at all.
The same.
So, very. I'm a sucker for that franchise. Like I said, 3 and 4, I wasn't a huge fan of, but the amount that I love 1, 2, and 5, I am very excited to see what direction they go. All right, so we're up to number 3, our top 3 now. That'll be you starting us off, love.
Number 3 is Mama, where Mama and Lily like jump off the cliff.
Have
And,
I seen this?
yeah, where they like are left in the woods, and then like the ghost mama like raises them, and then they find them. You've seen this movie.
I don't remember it.
Yeah. And like the youngest one is like too far gone, and they can't.
Doesn't Beverly Marsh is like a punk rock girl in the movie?
Yeah.
The chick that played Beverly Marsh, she's like this punk rocker
Yeah.
chick, and she's with the boy, the uncle that adopts the kids.
They
Okay,
adopt
I
the
vaguely
cute girl.
I remember punk rock Beverly.
Yes.
Yeah, should have said that.
And so, anyways, Lily, the youngest one, and Mama jump. Well, I guess I'm spoiling the movie.
We're talking about the third.
Yeah,
act,
they jump off the cliff and like turn into moths. And like
I do remember
I
that.
get that Mama, I guess, because she was kind of like an entity, but like Lily was like a real girl. Like you would think she would like splatter or something, not turn. I don't know. It was very like I thought Mama was really terrifying, and I just felt like her ending was very anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic for
Yeah.
sure. And I agree with you because I was digging that movie. I want to go back and rewatch it now because I forgot Jessica Chastain.
Mhm.
That's who it is. I want to go back and rewatch this movie now because I forgot all about it. Like it's like this movie never existed to me.
Yeah,
Like it was completely wiped out of my memory. So I
Yeah.
would like to go back and revisit it now.
that's kind of like the Kinkerman one. What was that movie?
Oh, Before I Wake.
Yes, like I can remember bits of it, but I want to rewatch that movie.
Love that movie.
Mhm.
Love that movie.
It's a sad movie.
What about you, Chris? What's your bronze medal?
I don't know how popular of a film this is, but it came to mind when I was thinking about it. Hellraiser Hellworld. That's the one we had like the Matrix looking poster of Pinhead and
Yeah.
whatnot. If you haven't seen on this one, it's like it had a very video game focus, and the characters are like invited to like a big party, and they start dying in pretty cool ways. Like it was actually pretty cool the way the movie. Not a lot of Hellraiser movies are worth watching in my opinion. There's only like about 3 that I think are 3 or 4 of them. But this one, the final act and the twist about like all these cool deaths you were seeing didn't actually happen. Instead, the characters were in caskets the entire time, and it was all a shared delusion. And then even with that, getting away of the whole supernatural element, they still end it on a supernatural thing where like one of the characters gets the lament configuration and like the walls go bloody, and then the Cenobites and Pinhead does appear. It just it throws it all away. Like that one really made me mad. But you get to see Henry Cavill get a blowjob, so there's that.
5 stars.
Yep. I'm in. That's so funny. Our lament configuration's right here, so
Mhm.
it's always watching. What about you, Cody? What's your number 3?
I've got Candyman 2021 on here.
Oh,
And it's a movie that I like quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
I think it's really well directed, really well shot. I liked what they did with kind of expanding the lore a bit and having multiple iterations of the Candyman legend and kind of expanding on that whole initial idea of the first one about this urban legend that kind of takes over a community. I think it was a really well written, well executed movie that you cannot convince me that 15 minutes are not cut out of that third act. And I was really hoping when I saw it that we were going to get like an unrated version, and we'd never have. It just got put out on Blu-ray, and I guess we'll never see what was very clearly cut out. So the movie kind of has the same problem as the Pet Sematary remake, where as soon as you get into the third act, it's on fast forward, and it gets ultra heavy-handed very quick because they don't have time to really build or let things breathe that they're talking about. It's like really suddenly it's about police brutality and on blacks, and it just gets so
bogged down in some message.
Bogged down in social commentary that it just kind of like it's just jarring. And then even as much as I like on paper what happens, I was very bummed out we didn't get more Tony Todd in that movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that when we did see him, it looked way over CGI'd. And like they're just having the bees around him. Like if we would have just had one scene where he just walks out or says something, like I needed more. So I really do like the movie. I think it's easily the second best Candyman film, but I want to see the version that wasn't hacked up by somebody in the editing room.
Yeah. And I feel the same way as you because, and again, I get that third act is not made for me or for you.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had to experience that. I mean, I'm not bitching. I've never had to experience something like that. And there are people that have to experience that type of, you didn't see anything, you know, I'm going to intimidate you and to be, you know, that's not made for me. But it still was rushed. You know, they had to figure out a way to just throw it in as quick as they could. And when they do that, it doesn't land. You want to do that right? Watch this movie right here, Tales from the Hood. That's a movie that does a social commentary. Watch the first Candyman. Shit, that does it right because it explains it out through the whole movie. So I agree. My number 3 is the take of the turning of the screw, the turning with Finn Wolfhard. Is that it?
Yeah.
The movie with no ending. It's just, if you want to watch a good version of this, watch The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah.
That's a really good iteration of the turning of the screw. This movie, like, it's, and what pisses me off is I liked the movie. I was having a really good time with this movie. Finn was kind of like a one-note character in the movie, but everyone else was doing a really good job. And then you get to the end and you're like, what? It's not even that the ending's bad. It's just like they stopped.
Yeah, it was just like done.
Yeah, it was like they were just like,
nothing.
Fuck it. We're done. All right, everybody go home. Craft table, clean it up. So yeah, that's again a movie that I really did like until the third act, and it really does take away a lot from like Miles, his character, Finn's character. They make him so one-dimensional, which is not who Miles is. Miss Jessel, like the stuff they do with that, it didn't work the way that it did in the original Turning of the Screw or the way that Flanagan did in The Haunting of Bly Manor. Again, Bly Manor had 9 episodes to be able to tell the story, where the Turning had hour and 30 minutes. But still, it fell flat for me. Me personally, it fell flat. So we'll catch up on the chat real quick before we get into number 2. Least favorite movie of the year. I will say that.
Oh, yeah.
Tarot.
Instagram is not allowing me to follow you back. I wasn't ignoring you guys. I'd love to connect. Cody and 3C, great guests. They are amazing. I think once you hit a certain limit on Instagram, it doesn't let you follow back. So I think they have like a limit of people you can follow.
Oh, wow.
Five Nights at Freddy's, Transformers Rise of the Beast from last year. Very great. Never seen it. Never seen it. I love Hellworld because my man Henry Cavill is in it. He definitely is in it.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. Like, I like Hellraiser. I love Hellraiser 2. And Hellraiser 3 is decent. And then I know a lot of people love Hellraiser 4. Hellraiser 4.
Yeah.
See, like, I
never met those people.
Couldn't get into it. I really do like 2 a lot, though. I think 2 is my favorite.
Yeah, 2 is really good.
There it is. It need an extra 15 minutes. Just got back as Cody talks Scream 6.
Hold your breath. We'll get there soon.
No, you can just come back and watch it here on the channel. Spiral from the Book of Saw, most predictable twist in the franchise. I will give you that.
Yeah.
When you see a character's demise, but you didn't see it happen, you know something's up.
Yeah, they did a bad job at executing that one.
Yes, very bad. So now we're up to number 2, and that'll be Cris starting us off.
This one, I decided to put High Tension up there. It's just, I remember seeing that one so young. I don't know why my dad let me see horror movies like that, but whatever year it came out, that's the year I also saw it. Was family movie night at Blockbuster. And I was just, the kills were so fascinating. Everything was so interesting and all that. And I've seen the arguments of why people like it and all that, the hidden, relationship between, or the way that the killer who ends up getting revealed by the end feels about the main character and whatnot. But just the plot holes and the being in 2 places at once and like some things that it's such a cool movie you want to love, and then you just get revealed that twist, and it's like, what? So that's definitely up there for me.
Ashley's like, shh.
No, I understand though. I've seen the arguments of why people like it, and so I could see.
Glad you can. Cody, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is Scream 6. And this might be recency bias. I'm not necessarily saying that this is a worse third act than some of the ones below it, but I can't think of a movie that went from high highs to low lows as sharply as this movie in any recent memory. Throughout the first 2.5 acts of this movie was just like, this is easily the best Scream sequel to me. I loved so much of what they were doing. I thought it was while a bit of a missed opportunity to be really different, I thought it was interesting that we opened up with the opening that we got. I was like, are they really showing us the killer in the first minute? That's going to be different. How's this going to play out? Didn't quite go that way, but I liked how different it was. I really like these core 4 characters, namely the 2 sisters. They overdo the replacement Randy character a little bit for me, but regardless, I really liked the New York setting. I liked the kills. You know, the one thing that the Scream franchise has always had a bit of a missed opportunity for me is creative kills, and they at least just up the intensity a little bit in this one. Like you said, having the shotgun and everything, which most people would say is a Carl sin when it comes to slashers, and that's the reason they tell you that the Terminator is not a slasher. Nonetheless, that's a video for another day. And then you have just really solid pacing throughout, and it was setting itself up to just do a layup of being the best sequel for me. And then from the moment that the Ghostface reveal happens, it's just like one thing after another that just took my score from here just in chunks. I think these 3 Ghostfaces easily are the worst 3 Ghostfaces. And the way that the performances turn tones, especially with the dad, I'm blanking on the actor's name, where he just turns into a fucking cartoon in the last 20 minutes with it. Ha ha ha, the way that he's laughing and the logic leaps that you have to go through, where it's like, okay, the Ghostface killer falls down and passes out, so Sam goes and finds a Ghostface outfit and hides and waits for him to wake up. Like just little stupid stuff like that, where it's like, you realize how dumb it is for you to get the cool scene that you're trying to get. And I despise how everybody survives in that movie. Like, it totally takes away from the intensity that they did such a great job building, and having Ghostface be one of the most intense Ghostfaces ever, when the motherfucker doesn't kill anybody. He sucks at his job by the end of it. Like, even the guy they turn into a pincushion is like, I'm good, see you in the sequel. Or maybe not. So yeah, that one, I mean, I still think it's solid enough. It's very watchable. I don't think there's a bad Scream movie. If Scream 6 or Scream 3, which I think are the 2 popular picks for worst, if that's your worst, you're doing okay. But it just crushed me how this was like just firing on all cylinders, and then it was just like somebody else took over the movie for the last 20 minutes.
What I do love, real quick, and I didn't want to interrupt you before, I love how people go back and rewatch this. When Cris says, my number 2 is High Tension, Cody gives him the Mr. Rogers. He's like, I'm proud of you. Just smile and everything. He was just like, so go back and watch it. It was worth a watch. So I've talked in depth, and I mean in depth, about my love of this movie. I think, to me, this is the potential to be the prototypical horror movie and one of the best horror movies of all time, without the third act that you have, mainly after the demise of our boy Freddy Krueger. And I'm going with A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. I don't mind Heather Langenkamp, pulling a Kevin McAllister and setting Sledgehammer booby traps and doing all that shit. I think that's fine. Everything after the skeleton goes into the bed, everything after that, to me, physically pisses me off.
Yeah.
I hate the Freddy car. Like, I fucking hate that car. If that could have been my first car, and I would have drove it off a cliff. I hate the blow up doll mom. And I think the reason why is because I don't mind they used the blow up doll. Like, I don't care about any of that, but the rest of the practical effects in this movie are so fucking good. Like the spinning room, Amanda Weiss's kill, Tina, Johnny Depp's waterbed, even the stretchy arms. Like, I love that. And even though it's goofy, I'm your boyfriend now, and then the Freddy mouth on the phone, everything, the latex on the wall, like everything about this movie. I put this in my top 3 practical effect movies of all time, with American Werewolf in London and The Thing. I think those are 3 movies that if you want to watch to learn how to do practical effects and do them the right way, those are 3 great movies to start off with. And the doll at the end looks so fucking stupid when the leg's hitting and it's like very visibly rubber. Yeah. It really takes this movie down for me. And like I said, I love this movie.
Yeah.
I feel
like A Nightmare on Elm Street in general just has a really hard time with
endings. Absolutely. Every single Nightmare on Elm Street movie has a dog shit ending. Yeah. Every single one. So yeah, which is funny enough, even though it doesn't look the best, I think the best ending in A Nightmare on Elm Street is the remake. You know, when you have Freddy come out of the mirror and take the mom through. I think it looks like shit with the CGI, but it still had the best idea of an ending in the movies for me. But I love A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that it's almost flawless, but the last act is just so like once you see that stupid skeleton, you're like, no, some dumb shit's about to go even dumber now. So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street at number 2 for me.
What's frustrating about it is that, I mean, most people know the story behind it is Wes Craven wanted a definitive ending. Robert Shea wanted to tease the sequel.
Yeah.
And it felt like they both just argued so much that they just didn't give a fuck. It's like, whatever, just do whatever. And they didn't even bother to make it make sense. And it doesn't even make sense to set up sequels. When you watch Dream Warriors, nothing in the last 5 minutes of the first movie makes any fucking sense. Her friends are still dead. So like, what happened in between? Was she just wake up from another nightmare? I'm with you. I think it's a all-time classic, and then that last 5 minutes, you're just like, just turn it off. It
well,
ends.
you even you're setting it up for a sequel, and even Nightmare 2 goes in a completely different direction. And when you have the spiritual sequel in the Dream Master, or the Dream Warriors, I'm sorry, nothing like you said matters from part 1. Heather's there, no one else is. What the fuck happened with that stupid car? That's what I want to know. Where did the Freddy car take her and her dead friends? Okay,
it drove off the same cliff that
Marissa died on for sure. So very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
Was that everybody?
No, I haven't done my number 2. My number 2.
Will skip you.
No, you will not. I will make sure you don't. No, my number 2 is Pet Sematary 2019. So the OG Pet Sematary is really where horror started for me. It's like the first one that I remember watching. And so I was super excited about this movie. And then the ending it ruined it for me. They're all dead, walking up to the car. Gage is the only one alive, and they're unlocking the car to get him. I don't know. It made me very sad. But I just remember sitting there like, you ruined my childhood. Like I was so bummed out with the way that they ended it.
And then you have that cover of Pet Sematary by the Ramones for the end credits.
It was horrible. It didn't even sound good.
Look, I love the Ramones. I grew up with the Ramones, and Pet Sematary has always been my favorite Ramones song. And the fact they wrote that song in like a half hour because Stephen King called them, it was like, hey, I need you to write the song. And they're like, got you, bro. And like they came out with that banger. Like, and then you hear the end credit song. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, like what did they do? You ruined it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So completely agree. Not a big fan of that film in general either. I think it had its high points, but overall it's just forgettable.
Yeah.
All right, before we give our number 1, we'll catch up on the chat real quick. Hellraiser 1 and 2 is all you need. 3 lets Doug do his thing, and overall fun to laugh at. Freddy's dead, good choice. I actually think Hellraiser falls apart with the third act. See, I love the third act.
I do too.
When you see that guy finally become a Cenobite,
I hate that he takes out all the Cenobites so easily.
I mean, I get that. I love watching him become a Cenobite. Like, I love that. Hellraiser 3 is my favorite. Cody is canceled. The Grudge 2020. What the hell? I don't even remember that movie.
Yeah, that whole movie is a train wreck.
Yeah, I know we watched it because it had Lynn Shay and the dude from Harold and Kumar in it. But I remember we were just both like, that was terrible. The Terminator is absolutely a slasher. And that's what I was going to say, Cody. You were talking about Scream 6. Like, he uses a shotgun. Go back and watch Scream 1 and tell me what Stu and Billy use a lot of the time.
Yeah. Art the Clown uses it. There's so many.
Yeah.
I don't want to get going. But every reason that I'm given for why saying the Terminator is not only a horror movie, but a slasher, whatever you want to say, it just infuriates me because I'm just like, I could poke so many fucking holes in what you just said. And did you even think about it before you typed it? Moving on.
This is one of the
like
first
a good
things
interpretation of that kind of killer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was one of the first things Cody and I connected on ever. Was one of the first lists we ever did was the top 10 slashers, and we both had the T800 on it. Where he hides his identity behind a mask. He goes through the phone book to find every Sarah Connor to make sure he's killing the like. It's a slasher 100%.
Yeah.
It's sci-fi slasher. I'll give you that. But the first Terminator is 100% a slasher film. 100%. Oh man. I can't even. I just watched Children of the Corn 3 again, and like it's so goofy that I can't hate it.
That's the only one I like. Is the third one.
Is it? I mean, I'm thinking of the right one, right? Where it's like they go to the city.
The third one is where you get the two like foster brothers, and one of them's a decent guy, and the other one's like almost looks like Jacob, and he turns the whole high school into disciples.
Yes, he has he's growing the corn out in the backyard, and the dad wants to start selling it.
Yep.
It always made me laugh when the one guy goes to fight him and he's walking through that warehouse. I'm gonna whoop your little ass. Like that shit used to make me laugh so hard as a kid. And so I rewatched it recently with my daughters, and I agree. Like the monster at the end is just so ridiculous. Like it's so ridiculous, but at least it's entertaining. Like it's so goofy that I don't hate it.
One of my fond memories with that movie is that you know my dad always pretty much let me watch within reason whatever I wanted. If it was like sexually explicit or if it was hardcore, he wouldn't. But horror movies, if it's just blood and stuff, it was carte blanche. And I was one of those kids, for those of us that remember the good old video store days, where I would just see a cool cover and it would stick in my head. I'm like, eventually I got to watch that fucking movie because that cover's cool. And Children of the Corn 3 was one of them. And I remember I got my grandma. She took me to the store and I was like, can I rent this? And I broke her down, and the whole drive home, she's like, you got to promise me you're going to not tell anybody that I let you watch this. And she was so worried. And so every time I watch this movie, I think about that whole drive home where it was almost like she thought this was going to be like the most hardcore thing ever. And it absolutely wasn't.
Right.
That's funny.
Well, and it is a goofy movie. Like it really is. Like, the scarecrows at the beginning and burying the book or the pages, and it's just when he throws him the book at the end and gets him with the book, you got to kill them both at the same time. Okay.
I don't remember much about that movie at all.
That whole franchise is miserable to get through.
I remember renting 666 Children of the Corn 666. Like I was like, oh, let's get this one.
I think the Children of the Corn may be the hardest franchise to get through. I put that harder than Texas Chainsaw, harder than Hellraiser.
Yep.
Because even the good Children of the Corn movies would be the worst movie in another franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the ones that like the original is not very good. And it's like, this is your high point, and you're like, oh fuck. And so it's all 9 or 10 movies of the same shit.
It's crazy though. Like it scared me when I was a kid because I literally lived in a town with all cornfields, and like I would walk home at night and have to cross like cornfields, and I would just run across the.
Who's our favorite character in what? Mortal Kombat? I mean, if we're talking about like playing the video games, it was always Sub-Zero or Scorpion. I mean, that was always my go-to.
I
could push high punch.
I had the same move, but I always won. Like I did the same thing, but I still won.
Did you guys have a favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Scorpion was always mine.
Sub-Zero. Yeah, I like ice powers.
See, and like I still remember like back low punch with Scorpion's get over here, down forward low punch with Sub-Zero's freeze.
Yeah,
like
I push the same button.
Yep. If you go to the pit,
kick people's asses.
If you go to the pit in I'll never forget it. If you go to the pit in Mortal Kombat 2, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile, their pit finisher was down forward block, and that was their pit finisher. I used to fucking love those games.
I don't know. All I know is I tried to play Roblox with my daughter, and I kept falling off the world, and she thought it was hilarious. I had no idea what I was doing. I suck at video games.
It was Minecraft.
Yes, Minecraft, not World. I don't even know the difference. Okay, that's how bad I am.
You don't know the difference, you fucking nerd.
I know, right? I am a nerd.
The Freddy car and Sex Doll Mom is fucking ridiculous. Hot take: the remake ending rules. I don't mind it. I just don't like how it looks. I like the idea of it. I don't like the execution.
From the first time I saw that movie, you know what I always thought would have been a badass ending for the remake is, you have Freddy's been vanquished, you got Nancy, you got Kyle Gallner. If it would have ended with Kyle Gallner, who was already injured in the hospital bed, and then he gets pulled through the bed like Johnny Depp, and the blood tornado, and the movie ends where Nancy's covered with blood or something.
That would have been dope. I would have loved that. But I'm one of those people that does it. I hated the movie when it came out just because I'm so pro Robert Englund. But if you want to hear more, join us in 2 weeks for our horror movie hot takes. We'll talk about that movie. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about the ending of that movie.
Yeah.
That whole movie pissed
I
me
don't
off.
think it's a bad one. I think it did what it was supposed to do and piss me.
The trailer for the new
off.
one does not keep any mystery on that.
Dude, that's Blumhouse 101. It drives me nuts. I despise that they're just continuing to do that. Here's the whole movie in 2 minutes.
Yep.
And what I will say is, if you really look closely at that trailer, you can see that it's gonna be different. They are fighting back in the trailer towards the end of the trailer, so you know they're actually gonna fight back in this movie. But it's gonna be Blumhouse's way of sanitizing this film for an American audience because we can't handle what happened in the original. You know, so and we'll see. I will.
I mean, we can't, because literally I thought about that ending for weeks.
Yeah.
Like, we can't handle it.
I don't think that it's going to be anywhere on the level, but it's got James McAvoy, so I will be seeing.
He might be the saving grace.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't think
the only
it'll.
reason I'm interested.
Yeah.
Exactly. The only reason I have any interest in seeing the movie. Thank you. We appreciate that, Andrew, very, very much. We got some love for Raiden and Ermac. Wow, you guys are going deep cut. I have not. You know, I've only ever seen the first one of The Howling.
Mm-hmm.
There's what, 4 of them?
I think there's like 5 or 6 or 7 of them. That's the Howling franchise is the reason why last year when we did the Creatures of the Night 31 on 31 that we did a change up and let people choose and we did our own, because I was like, dude, we got to include the Howling, but fuck including the other 7 of them. I don't even want to go through that.
Yeah, I can see why.
Mm-hmm.
Cris and Cody together, thank the heavens. Yes, I agree. Is the one with Eva Mendes? I don't even remember which one that is.
Number 4 or 5.
What's not the newest one, but the one before that where it was like the kids were having kids and
the made for TV remake.
That one was messed up. I didn't like that one at
that
all.
was fun.
That was horrible.
Like, we were asked for our versus segment to do Children of the Corn, the OG versus the made for TV remake versus the newest reboot. And we were like, sure, whatever. So we watched the OG, we watched the remake. We had a really hard time finding the made for TV remake. Luckily, Ashley's mom had it. Her mom and her mom, Nancy, had it.
Yeah.
Our mother-in-law had it. And we watched it and I was like, we're not touching this movie. Like you have like a bunch of there's like 5 or 6 different child gangbangs.
It's horrible
in the movie. And I'm like, I can't bring myself to give any credit to this on the channel. It's something that I'm really not willing to be a part of, is something like that. So yeah, that's all I'll say. Yes, you can be a mod, and if you see any other comments like that, get rid of them right away. There are 8 Howling movies.
Wow.
Holy shit. Top 3 best, yeah. What is the best setting location for a slasher film in all of your opinions?
The best setting?
For me, I like slashers where it's like I would love to see a slasher on
in the snow.
For sure. I would love to see a slasher in the snow. Like Never Hike in the Snow. That was great. But if we're talking about like a location, I like to see them in like a place where they can't get away, like maybe like on a carrier jet or like a cruise ship, somewhere where you're there and you can't get away. You have to face this person. There's no running. There's no getting away. In my opinion,
a lot of places to hide. Like
right.
Yeah, it makes it scarier.
So that for me would be my favorite. What about you?
I just think in the woods in general, like not only is there the slasher, there's like animals and bugs and like there's a lot, like that's all scary to me.
Right. What about you guys?
I always think hospitals and like mental asylums are always really creepy. There's just, I've never been comfortable in hospitals in general. So when you actually have something horrific going on, it's effective for me.
I would like more theme park ones. I saw Hellfest was a pretty like nice underrated little movie. I wish they continued. They set it up for a sequel, never happened. But theme parks, I think, are always interesting.
I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like Hellfest. I would love to see a sequel where that goes.
Or another one that I haven't seen too many. Thinking of the original Prom Night, a school.
Yeah,
Oh,
where they've
yes,
got
cool.
empty classrooms and the hallways, and very similar to hospitals, but a place that you're supposed to feel comfort in. We're going to portray that.
Definitely supposed to feel safe at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
I am in hospitals every day.
What's your guys' most anticipated? For me, it's probably gonna be Maxine. That's
Same.
probably the one I'm most looking forward to. Watchers is gonna be up there just because I really love Georgina Hall.
Mhm.
I'm excited for Cuckoo. And Maxine also. I'm those
Maxine
two
or
for
Long
sure.
Legs for me.
Yeah, Long Legs I'm excited for as well. Oh, Mom and Nancy are watching. Our moms are watching.
Hi. Hi, moms.
That's why I can't do nothing like that. I've never
I know.
seen it.
My mom texted me, "You sound sick."
I can't do anything Serbian film. I read the synopsis and I was like, yeah, there's not a fucking chance.
Yeah, I'm not into the video nasty stuff. I don't need it.
No, I can't do super essay stuff. Is just not. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Empty Forest. I do like space too. What are some overhated movies?
Child's Play 3.
Child's Play 3 is a good one. I'm gonna be the lone person to think this, and I'm gonna say Imaginary.
Oh.
I know.
Imaginary? Wow.
I liked Imaginary.
I
I thought it was fine.
Cool.
And you blow it.
Everybody's finding out now.
Right. It was one of those movies that like I didn't think it was fantastic or anything. I wouldn't go like spend money to watch it
liked
again.
the imaginary world. I
think for me what the big thing was the relationship with the father-daughter stuff. That hit me really hard. So if you can do something in a movie that gives me some type of emotion like that, I'm fine with it. In my opinion, it's leaps and miles better than Night Swim, Tarot. Now I know I'm setting the bar really low. It's like saying a hamburger is better than bologna or sand, but I'm still going to eat the hamburger in that situation. You know,
a hamburger is much better than bologna or sand.
Exactly. I feel like Imaginary was better than some of the other movies we've gotten just this year alone. So at least, like I said, it made me feel something. So
Shame on you for comparing it to hamburgers.
What about you, Chris? What's an overhated movie in your opinion?
The Child's Play remake, or reboot, I should say. I ended up really liking that. It's definitely got its flaws, like some of the puppeteer work isn't all that great. But I thought the way they reinvented this, like we're able to tell a similar story, but do it a little slightly different, I thought was cool. And I was willing to see more of it, but that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have named it Child's Play.
If they would have called it
Megan is the
Buddy,
proof. We got Megan too.
Yeah.
Call it Buddy from the world of Child's Play. We could have got the Buddy Bear.
We could have got the little blonde hair, blue-eyed doll.
I just you're replacing Michael Myers' mask with any other celebrity's face. Who are you going with? The guy that played Wayne in Wayne's World.
I think Nicolas Cage's face and painted up like that would be.
But it's got to be from the
Nicolas
movie.
Cage.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one.
I like his mask.
Steve Buscemi. See, again, I told you, everybody's gonna be like, "Fuck you, Ken," and I'm sorry, but yeah, Child's Play 3 all the way, the best in that franchise, in my opinion. Good. I'm glad. Genuinely, I'm glad. The way that I love when horror succeeds, and the way that I look at this, the way I reacted to this movie in general, for me, for my wife, it wasn't for us. We took our 11-year-old daughter.
She did like it.
Loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it. If you haven't
That's
seen
who
these
it's
tropes,
basically for. The middle.
Yeah, if you haven't seen these
thinking they're
tropes done
seeing
1,000
an adult
times,
horror movie.
Yeah, this movie's fine. If this is your first horror movie or one of the first horror movies you've ever seen, you're probably really, really gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've been in the genre for a while, if you've watched a lot of horror movies,
Like I've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen this 1,000 times done
over.
better.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on it. Good for them. I'm glad that we have some success in horror, and Taro's doing a really good job. But I wish, something like Lisa Frankenstein or Abigail could have gotten the reception that Taro's getting, because those are far superior movies to what Taro is.
Is Taro making more than Abigail? Or no?
Oh yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Taro made
That's
a
crazy.
lot. I was actually shocked when I saw the numbers that Taro was doing.
That hurts my soul.
Yeah,
I know.
Again, like I said, it's made for kids. You know, it's a good gateway horror film. Our 11-year-old walked out of the theater like, hell yes, Dad. That was better than Ghostbusters, and she walked home. Dropping the ball is clearly Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell is the most overhated movie for the best movie in a franchise.
For good reason.
I don't like it.
That movie's fantastic. Oh, good call. Did not like the movie really at all.
Baghead wasn't bad.
It's all right. The Simpsons or Family Guy? Simpsons. I hate Family Guy. Can't stand it. But for me, it's Futurama overall, baby. So, yeah,
I know what
Futurama
we're about to see.
Yeah.
Let me pull my dick out for Family Guy.
Dick's out for Family Guy. Yeah,
to make everybody feel a little bit better, because you had me really curious. It says Taro has only made 20 million, which is still 19 more million it should have made, but that's half of what Abigail made. But it's probably more profitable than Abigail, so that still sucks.
Oh, why did
Still
I see that
sucks.
it made well, I saw it made a shitload of money. Maybe I just thought
I saw the 20
maybe I
million,
thought 20 million was a lot of money
low.
just because of the movie. Maybe that's what it was. Like, wow, that movie
19
made
more
$20
million than it should have made.
Yeah.
Everybody that saw that movie, shame on you for not going to see Abigail.
See, and that's what's a whole nother rant for another day. So we're up to number one, and that'll be Cody starting us off. Cody, you want to give us your number one?
Number one is High Tension. You knew it was going to be on here, and this was the only one that I was really passionate about where to place it on the list. The other ones you could kind of swap around. I can't think of a plot twist that has a bigger hole in it than High Tension. You could drive a fucking semi through it. I mean, you have a movie that's got seriously intense kills, especially at the time. We hadn't been quite so desensitized by Saw and everything yet. And a really cool tone to it, a creepy killer. I mean, it was no holds barred. And not only do I think the whole, like, it was all in the person's head is just like a cliche, even at that point. But the way they executed is just like, okay, her being like in love with the other girl and try like something on paper about that is really cool. And you could have done something that would have been better, but just the way that they showed the chase between the main character and the killer does not allow any room for that twist to make any logical sense. Even if you just look at the kills where, like, you know, decapitate somebody by pushing a chest of drawers into their head, and you look at that girl and you're like, could she even move that chest of drawers? Like, she's this big.
Right.
And you know, they have like a car chase and you have even the scene before the movie starts where he's, you know, doing the thing with the head. And I've heard every defense in the world for it. I love the fact that there are people that can look past it. And I have my own movies where that's you know, I'm like, yeah, I agree with you, but I still love it. It's not a big deal for me. This destroys the movie for me. And I like that shot at the end that Ashley was talking about where she's like that's really fucking disturbing to end on. But just, yeah, that twist, you get to it and you're like, how the fuck does this work? Maybe they'll explain it. Nope.
See, and I had it as an honorable mention. Obviously, I should have probably had it a little higher, but my number one it's Glass, man. I was so fucking pissed walking out of that movie. And like, as a huge fan of Unbreakable, a huge fan of Split, you know, two actors that I've loved and respected for a very long time in Bruce Willis and James McAvoy, and putting them together in this movie with Samuel L. Jackson. And I'm like, you know, we have, like you said, I did buy into the hype. You know, we're going to get that final battle. We're going to get that. I don't mind how they drowned Bruce Willis in the mud puddle. I don't mind that. Like, I really don't. That doesn't bother me. It could have happened after we got a little bit more action, though. Because even in Unbreakable, he almost drowns in the swimming pool. You know, when he gets wrapped up in the swimming pool cover.
But it was a mud puddle. It's like 2 inches deep.
But it's his only weakness. You know, I could get stung by a sweat bee that's only this big, and I'm still going to die. If I don't get an EpiPen and you just suck the poison out.
Oh, okay. It's not a snake.
Ken's frisky tonight.
But yeah, it's just like, again, that's his weakness. I understand, I respect it, but I was really hoping to get a real big, good, bad. Them getting to that bridge would have just been so fucking awesome to me, and to see how it could have went, because I love the ending of Unbreakable. You know, they called me Mr. Glass. You know, like, I think that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have the ending of Split, I'm not making shit up. I'm the guy that gets pissed when people talk in a movie. I'll go sit next to people and be like, hey, what you talking about? It's obviously super important that I'm missing the movie for it. So why don't you tell me what's so fucking important right now?
Mm-hmm.
But I literally at that moment was like, are you guys seeing this? Holy shit. This was fucking crazy. Oh my God. And like nobody in the theater.
Shut up.
Yeah. Take your Metamucil and eat a grapefruit. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved both those movies, and I loved Glass. I loved the cat and mouse game up until the third act, and I was super, super bummed out with how it ended. So for me, my least favorite third act in horror is Glass.
All right. Mine, this is very divisive in our household.
It better not be.
It is.
Is it The Mist?
It's The Mist.
You
yeah.
fucking asshole.
I hate that ending. Like,
You asshole.
I guess I don't understand it. I don't understand why you would shoot your son in the face. Like,
Really? Have you seen our fucking bills?
yeah. But I mean, just let the monster tear him apart. Like, why are you gonna shoot him in the face? And then 2 seconds later, everything is clearing up.
That
And
tragedy is what makes it so brilliant to me. Like, it's brilliant because
and he doesn't get to die. Like, he's lucky enough to like not have a bullet. And
for me, like,
yeah,
I get it.
Here we go.
I get it. Like,
his wife is gone. His son
no,
is
not
gone.
even that. Not even that. But like,
And now
if I'm in that situation, do I want my children to be ripped apart, to get spider venom that melts them, torn to shreds, or just a quick bullet in the head? So I know my children.
At least I didn't.
I know
do
I
it.
joke around a lot, but I love my kids more than I love myself. And I would gladly let a spider put its eggs inside me or burn me with its acid if it meant that it saved my kids from any amount of pain whatsoever.
But now he's a single man ready to mingle.
Not helping your argument.
he killed his son. His wife is dead. I think,
It's all making sense.
So it was
I think he had a part of this whole.
He set it up.
He set everything up.
But yeah, I love the ending of them. I respect the fact you don't like it. I really hate the fact you don't, but I get where he was coming from. I would do anything in my power to shield my children from the worst types of
I would
pain.
even shoot him right in the face.
If I would rather get shot in the face than melted by acid. Call me crazy, but that's again argument for another day. What about you, Chris?
I don't know if it's like controversial because I think most people hate this movie, but I'm a defender of it up until the final act. Blair Witch 2, the original Blair Witch 2. I actually I like dug that movie as a kid a lot, and I was always pissed at the ending where they had the videotape. Well, throughout the movie they show you the videotapes of like what's happening, and you get to see like what's happening. But then at the end, it's like, oh, what you saw wasn't actually what was recorded. They were actually just possessed by the spirit. Like, I don't know, it pissed me off so much, and I feel like they could have taken the Blair Witch into like if they wanted the mainstream status, where it's already impossibly hard to revitalize the Blair Witch as a franchise, even though they're consistently trying to with that one they came out with like in 2010, I think, and now this new one that I think Blumhouse is a part of, which I don't think is going to go well at all. I feel like Blair Witch 2 had the potential to like do the franchise thing they wanted, but they screwed it up with that ending. And so for that, it really pisses me off because like I still really like watching Blair Witch 2 up until that reveal. So that one for me.
I loved it as a kid. We rewatched it a couple years ago, and it was hard for me to get through.
Yeah.
For me, it's not even the fact that this one isn't found footage or whatever. The characters annoy the shit out of me throughout the movie. Maybe it's just because I've gotten older and I'm like, oh my God, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then I do like when you see, I'm the opposite of you, I think. Cause I like that ending. Like when you see him actually push her off, he's like, fucking witch, and it's like,
I guess I just more want to see the witch in every single movie. I want to see the fucking witch, and they always cop out at the end. Even the newest one did that.
But if you
Blumhouse will
haven't,
give it to you.
Yo,
oh
we'll
yeah,
see.
Blumhouse is good. Yeah,
In the trailer, you'll see her.
There you go. Yeah.
or just have Rob Zombie make it. Sherry Moon will be the witch.
There you go.
So I know I said at the beginning and the middle, guys, but we're at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, please make sure, if you haven't already, you're subscribing to Cris, you're subscribing to Cody. If this is your first time here at Sledgehammer Horror, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We try to put out as much content as we possibly can for you. We're going to catch up on the chat real quick before we let everybody go. Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't know, man. When I see Jason crying in a sewer for his mommy, I get really upset. I hate that shit.
The toxic waste.
My favorite ending of the year so far. The ending blew
Immaculate?
me away to Immaculate.
I
I thought the movie was good, but the ending pushed it over the top for me. Made me like it more than I thought I was going to. I can't wait for the Barbella remake. Can't wait. Abigail was good, a bit overhyped, while Tara was just dreadful.
I loved Abigail.
J6 Manhattan is my absolute favorite in the Friday franchise. First one I saw with my dad as a kid, and it had my head ever since. See, I can't talk shit. Mine's Jason Goes to Hell.
Nostalgia's a bitch.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
See, that's what Freddy's Dead. My uncle took me and my cousins to see Freddy's Dead in 3D in the movie theaters when I was a kid. So I'll always have that memory of watching that movie in 3D, and it'll always be special to me for that reason.
I would give my dad shit about it for this day. He tried talking shit about something. I'd be like, "You're the dude who fucking paid to go send us to Freddy's Dead." Remember that? I remember it pretty well.
Thanks, Juicy. That's fucking awesome.
But I like it when they're on the boat. Once they get to Manhattan, it's like, ugh. But like
I don't know.
the boat part, I like that.
I feel the opposite. I like when they get to that little bit we get in Manhattan, like when you see Jason in Times Square. That seemed to me still. And like when he dumps the rapist.
Like
that's awesome, man. When he scares the punks.
It's like so out of his character.
But when he dumps the guy in the toxic waste, when he hits old dude's head off, like I love that shit.
I don't know. I like the boat.
You really could make that argument. You'd be wrong, but you can make that argument. Thanks, Cris. I appreciate it, brother. Cody's gonna love this. Madam Web is also overhated. I'm not saying it's good, it's mid at best, but the online hate is over exaggerated.
Okay. You buying that Blu-ray?
I can look past that. I still love the hell out of High Tension. The explanation is very flimsy, but it's there. I just enjoy the ride. Still one of my favorites.
Agree.
The ending
It's
to the book
brutal.
is brilliant.
They even like kill the kid.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
The ending, the mist ending is awesome. See, here, Glass is not horror. Agree to disagree. I also defend the Blair Witch 2, and apparently the final cut we've never seen a spectacular.
They all say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The worst
Zack
movie
Snyder's
I've
gonna make
ever
a whole
watched.
genre of that.
Yeah. We'll start with you guys first. Everybody knows mine, but Cody, what's the worst movie you have ever watched?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the movie I hate the most is Freddy Dead, but it's probably not the worst. I can't tell you what the worst movie I've ever seen
the
is.
first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the most
there.
recent Jeepers Creepers.
That's up there.
Yeah, there's some really bad ones out there. Those would be it.
Even though a lot of people fucking love the movie, I put Bug.
See,
I'm not a fan of that one either.
I thought you were gonna say.
Well, The Exorcist 2
Exorcist
is
2.
easily mine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But Bug is one of those movies that I'll never forget this. We went and watched it with Ashley Judd, I think is who's in it.
Yeah.
And
I was still in high school when we went and seen this
Yeah.
movie.
And I remember the movie ended. I'll never forget this. And we're sitting there, and this guy behind us stands up, and he goes, "What the fuck?" And he walks out.
He was like, "Do I get my money back?"
Yeah, he walked out to the
And I
counter
was
with like
if you get your money back, I'm getting my money
he was
back.
like really like, "I want my money back right now." That movie's the worst thing I've ever seen. They were like, "You sat through the whole thing, bro. Like, we can't give you your money back for it now." But I'll never forget that. I thought it was hilarious.
I think the worst movie I've ever seen is a movie called The Apple. Have you ever heard of it? From 1980. So when I first started my Patreon, I had a tier where it was you could do review requests, and I had a couple of sadistic people that would just pick the worst movies possible just to have me have to watch them and review them. And The Apple was one of those picks. I don't even remember how to describe this. It's like a science fiction musical that's like, I think there's like some biblical stuff in it. I mean, it's unwatchable. I would watch Freddy's Dead every day of the week before I watch that movie again. So that's probably my pick.
I hate those movies that are like that. Which two horror icons would you like to see go head to head in the vein of Freddy versus Jason?
Michael versus Jason, just so we could get a definitive.
Listen,
Jason wins.
I want a definitive
Like a
that
silent
Michael.
film.
Busta Rhymes whooped Michael's ass.
Okay.
Jason's taking him.
Do you know how many people trick Jason? Little boys.
Yeah, well,
and-
Michael, what's he going to trick him with this?
Yeah, maybe he could say his mother.
He can't talk.
He could put on the blue
Oh,
blouse.
just grounded. What about you guys?
Although maybe tone-wise the movies are different, I think a Ghostface versus Michael would make more sense because at least then it's more human. But at least you have different ways they go about. Like Ghostface runs, he like slices, and then Michael is slower. And so that I don't know, that'd be interesting. Be grounded.
Man, I don't know. Like Freddy and Jason were the only two that ever really made sense to me. And for me, I still think it's a miracle that movie was as good as it was. I mean, I think Pinhead or Michael would have been cool to throw into the fray and have like a three-way battle. I've never been a champion of the Freddy versus Chucky thing, even though Mancini's joked about it. And now he's, I guess, given up on Freddy, and now it's going to be Megan versus Chucky.
So stupid.
God help everybody when that happens. I don't know, maybe Pennywise and Pinhead. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, none of them really make sense to me besides Freddy and Jason. That was the only one that ever sounded good.
Mine, I've always said it for a long time. I'd love to see Freddy versus Pinhead. You know, that ultra fantasy type
That
thing.
one could make sense. Yeah.
You know, like the dream world versus the hellscape. I think that would be a lot of fun. This all started when I seen somebody made a custom Lament configuration Freddy glove. And it was the Freddy glove, but it was the colors of the Lament configuration. And instead of having the blades, it had the hooks from the Lament configuration. And I thought that could be like the final part of the movie is Freddy getting the Lament configuration as his glove, which is beneficial for him, but also he's giving up his dream. I'm writing this movie in my head, but I thought it was cool.
Something that just came to my mind. I don't think it would make a good movie, but if we're just going to play like, you know, fantasy football here, I think Pinhead and Tall Man would be kind of cool.
Oh,
They
that would
have
be
some
great.
similarities. We have, you know, chains and balls fucking going all over the place.
I just want to see the Tall Man call Pinhead Boy.
I was wanting to ask you, Cody. I've never seen the Phantasm movies. Could you like give me like what is those about? I only ever saw you guys.
No,
maybe
I cannot.
remember. If you guys
Good luck.
if you guys seen that one DVD that would have all the horror icons in it, you guys know what I'm talking about? Where it's like it gives you 2 minutes of every movie. That's the only thing I've ever seen of him. And it
Wasn't that
was
like the 101 greatest horror villains?
something like that? Yeah, that's the only thing I know of him. But I just recently saw.
See,
I can tell you one
I
through
don't get
three.
what
I
those
was
are.
late to it too, and I didn't think I was gonna like it because I'm not like big into Pinhead. Like it's not my franchise, but I really do
Like Phantasm.
Are they good? What are the best ones? Just so I know what I'm getting into.
1
when
and
I go
2.
in. 1 and
One
2.
and
Easily
two.
1 and 2.
So-
3 has its moments. There's really some genuine funny moments in 3. There's some good, you know, kill moments in 3. But if you want to just go in for the scare factor of it, 1 and 2 are just so good.
Okay.
So
One of
good.
them's a little more slow burn, cerebral, trippy. The second one is significantly higher budget. Like that's the one more mainstream one of all all 5 of them. That one's probably the most popular pick for best of them. So people that don't like the first one, I always tell them at least watch the 2 because you might like that one better. 3 is like the campy, goofy one. 4 is a movie that is really just made for fans. Half of the movie is recycled footage that was never used in the first
really?
film.
Okay.
And then the 5th film is a train wreck.
Fucking bonkers, man.
But yeah, I recommend checking them out. At least the
Okay.
first 2. It's not
was intrigued, but I
it's
never
kind
got
of a
around to
love or hate thing. I meet
Okay.
just as many people that hate them as people that love them, but I adore them.
The Tall Man
That's
scared the shit out of me as a kid, man. Like he scared me. Like the sphere and just the
Well, I think that's just such a
like
cool
that deep
weapon. That
voice.
sphere's always intrigued me, but I never checked out the movies.
You gotta check it out. At least 1. I agree. 1 and 2. I do like 3 a lot. So, but it's campier, way campier.
Okay.
Thank you for the donation, T. Parker. Number 1, Scream 6. Bailey charging at Sam with his loaded gun. Felt like it was taken out of Scary
Oh,
Movie. The
God,
third
yeah.
act felt like the first draft. Cancel me, J-Deb.
He canceled
And
everybody.
he did.
He just keeps popping back up, canceling people.
I do want to say someone asked No Country for Old Men or There Will Be Blood, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've never seen either one.
Talk about movies with bad third acts. No Country for Old Men. I've never seen There Will Be Blood. No Country for Old Men is genuinely an awesome movie. I've grown to forgive the third act. Without spoiling things, they very directly adapt the ending of the book where essentially the third act happens off screen, and it does not work in a movie medium, in my opinion. You can give me all the defenses in the world. Imagine a movie where it's building to something and then it happens off screen and you just cut to after it's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? And like, it is such an awesome movie before that. Like Javier Bardem is so good. So it's definitely a great movie, but that ending that third act in general has never worked for me.
It's so fucking funny. Because I'm just not much of a action drama type of guy, and it just seemed like that movie would not be up my alley. But I'm definitely willing to give it a shot.
I think you would love Javier Bardem's villainous character.
I heard he's like I've seen the coin toss scene. I've seen stuff like that, so I've got to watch it. All right, where were we at? Worst movie? Dashcam. I can't argue.
That was pretty rough.
Yeah, that was a hard one. Seed of Chucky and Cuddy's
I had somebody comment on my review of that. It was the first comment I've gotten in like over a year, and they said when a liberal has a YouTube channel, and I was like, how the fuck did you get that? Nonetheless, sometimes you get comments where you're just like, I want to have a conversation with this person. Like, I'm intrigued on where the stupidity comes from.
See, for me, and I agree with you, like political beliefs or not, it's not going to sway how I feel about a film.
Yeah.
You could make an ultra liberal movie, and if I don't like it, I'm not gonna champion for it. You could make an ultra conservative movie, and if I like it, I'm gonna champion for it. Hey, I thought that movie was great. It's a fucking movie. My political views don't mean a fucking thing on if I was entertained or not. It's to me, it's not rocket science, but whatever. That's the world we live in now. Skinamarink made me appreciate Jason Goes to Hell. Come on, man. Jason Goes to Hell is fucking great. Yeah, guys, we need Child's Play 2019 sequel, Buddy. I agree. I completely agree. I would love to see a sequel to that movie. So I do want to thank everybody once again for coming in and hanging out. If you haven't already, like I said, like and subscribe. It really does help build the channel more than you know. Make sure you're going to subscribe to their channels as well. They're fucking amazing, and we're so honored to have them here. And make sure you follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.